is a hero. I see them all around me. It's my brothers and sisters. For all they've done to make sure we as soldiers and countless others could come home safe. Even when the odds are against you and things seem impossible, a hero rises. They fight. They resist. They protect.
Hello everyone, and welcome from Tankfest. For the first time, World of Tanks Modern Armor is here, and as you can see, we can
touch. We are in person.
Yes, it has taken 2 years for us to finally get together, but yeah, hey,
we made it happen.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? Nice to be here. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. And the most important, let's cover the weather update.
Of course,
yeah.
As we always do, both with you and your local workplace and us in Chicago, we always have to cover our national weather forecast, right?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, here in Bovington, UK, the weather they're going through a bit of a heat wave.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, we have been very, very lucky with the weather. The last 2 days have been 25, 26, 27 degrees. And
Celsius.
Celsius, sorry.
Important note.
Yeah, very important for all American viewers. And not a single drop of rain so far.
So far.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm sweating bullets here. I'll tell you what.
It's really hot in here. I like next year if we're gonna do this, we need like fans left and right next to the streaming setup, because I have not really planned with this at all.
Hey, it's our first time here. I gotta say, I'm just very happy that both the Tank Museum and Wargaming was able to set this up for us.
Yeah.
This was a huge opportunity for all of us, and for you, the players. We have a lot to cover, a lot of awesome updates and announcements of things to come real soon.
Oh yeah. One thing that we can cover right now is the release of the Chieftain Proto.
Yes.
Why we can do this is because the Chieftain has been painted, and you can see it here.
Here it is.
This tank is positioned at the entrance of the Tankfest, and the Tank Museum has painted this tank in the camouflage that we have in the game.
Yes.
So it is amazing. I got here the first time, and the amount of tanks that they have is sheer insane. In the VCC, the Vehicle Conservation Center,
yes,
they have around 50 tanks next to each other.
Like the parallel park job that they had to do to fit all those tanks in there.
Yeah. You should check out our social media on Instagram, because I bet that we're going to share some of these pictures in the next coming days. there. And also KB is doing an amazing job with all the reels. So if you want to see more behind the scenes, she will post a lot. Yeah.
There is a lot to show here. I mean, the tank museum itself has a minimum of 200 tanks on display that you can get up and touch up close in person. With just a select few, they actually allow players to, or guests to climb on top of the tanks.
Yeah, I was walking around the last 2 days, and the museum is always very cautious when they move big vehicles.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to run around, but I snuck in the parking spot behind the arena where they park all the vehicles that they use for the arena shows, and they also had like a Chaffee there, and they also had a Cromwell parked there, and it's just the dimensions, the size of the Tankfest itself is just fantastic.
I just came back from one of their demonstrations just ahead of the stream, doing an Allies versus Axes, and they brought out the Chaffee, the Hellcats, the Hetzer was out there, and then of course the big finale was bringing out the Sherman Fury.
Yeah, and today during noon, like 12 o'clock, they had a World War I presentation where they drove around with the Matilda 1, like one of the very first.
I missed that one.
It is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is really gorgeous. The state these tanks are is.
They take care of them so well. Yeah.
So it's really fantastic. I can just highly recommend, if anybody ever comes to the UK, take the time, take the 2.5-hour trip down to Bovington and just walk around the museum. It's fantastic here, really.
And not to stress this too much, because yes, it's tanks. There's a lot of history surrounding these vehicles, but it's really interesting to see up close and personal. You can see some of the damage and the impacts these tanks have actually received.
There's a Mark 1 right next here in the hall.
Yes.
And sorry, a Mark 2 is it? A Mark 2 tank. And I think it was a training vehicle back in the day.
Yeah.
And you really can see the impacts, but I think it wasn't really hardened steel. So it's insane to see where the shell went in and came out on the other side. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Something I wanted to quickly cover is what can you expect of the Tankfest, because we are the first ones to stream with PC right now, and I know that tomorrow at 3 o'clock our partners from World of Tanks Blitz are streaming, and on Sunday World of Tanks PC having their very big historical stream where they show the footage from the arena and some additional content. So it's really, I would highly recommend to check that out. Yeah. And also, for example, today there are other presentations with like the British Army display, where they have Challenger 2s showing.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Pulling that out in the arena?
Yeah, they're pulling that out in the arena. A T-72M will be shown. They have Mastiff 2, Titans, and Jackals. So it's gonna be, it's really fantastic to see. So what can you expect today's program? Just to cover this real quick. So I'm here with Brandon right now. Bam. Sorry.
All good. All good.
And we also have some more guests. We have some people in the background checking out the stream. We have Plague here, our lead tank designer, who is sitting in the back right now.
He's on standby.
He's listening to us, ready to talk in the back. We have our CC Patty here, who's running from the left to right, who's not going to be part of the stream, but he makes himself part of the stream. And we also have Ricky later on stream with a
Q&A segment.
Yeah, with a QA segment, together with
Plague,
Plague and you. And yeah, I guess we can just start off and talk about the stuff that is happening right now and that is happening next week.
Yes.
I think I'm going to kick it off in saying that you all guys, you saw our Cold War medals in the trailer.
Yes, we finally debuted. We know players have been asking for it, and it came out with the War Heroes season release launch.
Yep.
Cold War medals are now in the game, and you may have noticed on the trailer for our season launch, it was noted as Wave 1. More medals are, in fact, on the way. We have more coming down the line in future seasons. And just kind of give a brief sneak peek at just some of the medal art that is available to the Cold War medals. Here are some other ones here. We will, of course, have some ATGM medals. You can probably take a guess on the ones on the left, destroying a select number of tanks per alliance.
Yeah.
And then climbing up the eras as well. You'll have some medals to be able to earn certain stage awards on those fronts.
Yeah. And but this is not the only thing that is coming. We have teased it for a while. You know all that it's coming. The Italian tank destroyer.
Yes. Well, we did debut and kick off the Italian tank line with the Vipera release a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And yes, this Tuesday, the remaining, the full
tech tree.
Italian tech tree line is coming out, and that branches off the Tier 4 in the Italian line itself.
Yeah.
We know you guys have been waiting for so long. It's coming in the War Heroes season on Tuesday.
Yeah. And so just for you all to give you a little brief update, we have now a segment that will be with Plague and with BAM, where we cover a lot of things that are very near in the future, and also some more plans way for in the future. And for that, we will do the following, and I will just let it play and let Plague take the seat.
Yep.
All right.
Yay.
Plague, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
You and I haven't been on stream together in quite some time, and the players want to see you online a little bit more. They have burning questions for you.
Well, that I always know. That'll never get old.
So again, guys, this is Plague, our lead vehicle tank designer of the game. And again, I'm so glad you were able to join us here for Tankfest.
I'm glad. I've been trying to get here for ages. It's been a very long time I've been trying to get here, so
made it happen.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I got to run around the museum earlier. It's fantastic.
You were literally a kid in the candy store.
I wasn't the only one, so.
Oh, yeah. I had a lot to learn just from kind of watching from afar, just seeing you nitpick and point out all the interesting details on all these things. It was very fascinating from a
every single room. We have like a V101 back there. We got a Centurion, Type 59 in the background. Every single room has something. Then you have like Jag Tigers, regular Tigers.
Do you think one day we could do like an interview and like for the players to see you talking about a lot of these individual tanks, get your perspective on it?
Well, me and Ricky kind of did that earlier.
Oh,
we did a lot of walking, talking, went over everything.
So you guys have some content to come to go over a lot of the tank museum offerings.
We do.
Fantastic. All right, dude. Let's go ahead and get in, start talking about some of our upcoming features that we've been just hinting to the players for weeks now on our road to Tankfest.
Okay. So I know a lot of players have been asking for like the new French line, and well, as you guys can see, this is it. It starts off with the AMX-30A, or basically the AMX prototype, and steadily works its way up through like the AMX-30B, the B2, the B2 British, and then you get to more detente air tanks, like the AMX-32, the AMX-40, and then finally at the top of the tree, the Leclerc. So a lot of questions have been asked previously, and basically the start of the line is the AMX-30A and B. They do not have APCR rounds.
Right.
They start with heat. They are fun. They're accurate. The 30A does not have the 20mm cannon, which most people still want, but they are very competitive, so don't worry. This new line is very light. Like, they're actually lighter than Leopard tanks, surprisingly, even though they're roughly the same size, but they'll have great mobility, pretty good at gun handling, and as you work your way up the tree, much better guns, and then, of course, the autocannon, so.
Yes. More secondary weapons for those that like to have that extra firepower capacity.
And then, when you get to the top, or near the top of the tree, like the AMX-32 and AMX-40, finally into town, we get a couple more medium tanks with more armor, but like just more competitive mobile tanks as opposed to main battle tanks, which are a lot running around at top here. So
yeah, absolutely. Would you be able to talk to us a little bit about the development process? Why did we pick out these tanks? Did we know that the fans were waiting for this one for a while in the Cold War?
So
ecosystem?
honestly, part of it is just I wanted the AMX 30 line in for a very long time. I always loved like the AMX 1390, 105. I just loved the light tanks, and then the mediums were always great. So just being able to add new stuff like the 20mm autocannons with them. So like dual guns. Like you have so many options with the line, and they're so mobile. So it's something I've wanted to add for a long time. And then the Leclerc is just something a lot of people have asked for in the past. Of like,
Oh yeah.
because we do Challenger 2s and Abrams, like modern day French. What can you bring? Like, so it'll be a little bit of different play experience. The turret's strong in certain areas, but it's a little more lightly armored than some of the other main battle tanks. But it's a lot more mobile. It's kind of like got the mobility of some of the speedier like Russian heavies, and so it's a great combination of good gun handling and mobility. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's surprising actually. It bounces a lot of shots. So.
And no kidding, players really have been asking about the Leclerc and guessing it's coming. It's coming soon. We know it. Every stream, I would say at least 3 to 5 people would bring it up in the chat.
But did you say coming soon though? You always had everything we do. It's coming soon.
That's all I can say. But here we are finally. We debuted. It is coming.
No, it's
to
awesome.
Cold War. Yeah, and it's great.
It's also got really good pens, so just so you know, you'll like it.
Yeah. So you also do a lot of collision research, collision reviews, and historical research because we are a game,
Yes.
right? And we really depend on making the tanks, yes, accurate, but making sure it's still fun at the same time. So sometimes we got to lean a little bit more into the arcade aspects of it. But can you talk to us a little bit about your process of the collision reviews? How do you what sort of reference material do you work with? And do you ever think about, okay, we got to make changes to this because it has to adapt into our World of Tanks Modern Armor game?
So for a lot of that, so for the collision, not as much. So basically for that, we try to get as much information as we can from like official sources, unofficial sources, historians, and we just try to get as much information as we can to build as realistic a tank as we can. But then at the same time, there is some arcadey bits. So basically we look at, what's the armor profile of the tank? What kind of engine does it have? What are the shell pen? How much damage could it do? And so you have to work with all that together to get a sense of like, okay, where would this tank fit in? Like, would it be better at high tier, low tier? And then at the same time, as you're working your way up the tree, you kind of want to balance it. So like, okay, the tank should be right here and it's this good. But to that next level, you got to make it just a little bit better. So maybe you'll fudge little lines, but you try to keep it somewhat real. So you like to make it a little speedier or buff the pen or the damage or something else, but just to make it so it feels good. And then as you're going down the line, like collisions, hugely complex. You think about like the armor panels, and then you also have to think about the armor panels on the inside of the tank, which a lot of people don't think about.
Yes.
Like in World War I, when I say World War I, World War II, a lot of the older tanks like Centurion, like Sherman, like they're very rolled homologous armor, and it's just one panel. But when you get to more modern tanks, like there's multiple layers, there's chobum, there's space, and so you have to think about the mechanics of the shell hit, what's going on the inside, and so that's kind of what we try to do when we look at schematics and other things, and try to give it as good of a representation as we can. So try to make it feel real good and bouncy.
We simulate a lot of like
we do.
What the interaction of the innards of the tank would be like if a shell was able to pen, and the crew members, what happens to them when that shell goes through.
Go through armor viewer on these new tanks, or like any MBT. Just spend a couple minutes. It'll make my day. That's like weeks of work of just panel, armor. Lots of tuning, lots of adjustments, but trying to get as accurate for you guys as we can. So
awesome. Do you have any specific moments and developments for these tanks that really stood out to you, or maybe in our own internal playtest that was like, this is what makes these tanks special?
I mean, honestly, at first I was a little worried about the AMX 32 and 40 since we tested these like a long time ago, so it's been a while, and now they're fighting like more updated tanks. Because that's the thing you guys don't realize is some of these tanks we don't build all at the same time. So like for the AMX 40, we've had that for years, but it's just we didn't have the rest of the line to build to release it. So like it had to slightly be updated, but just putting it against like some of our current release tanks and some of the more modern tanks like the Challengers and everything else, I wasn't 100% sure, but after getting to a couple adjustments, it came out really well, so it's very mobile.
Awesome. Okay, we are about 15 minutes into the stream, and one thing we didn't touch upon, a giveaway. It's a stream, giveaways are things
Always
that
free
we got to
stuff.
do.
Great stuff.
Great stuff. Guys, if we can go ahead and put the link into the chat, and we'll have someone. Do we have our current winners? No, not yet. Okay.
Got to do the magic first. The magic.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have a few tanks that we're going to be giving away. We'll start off with a chance for one lucky winner. They will be receiving the Chieftain Proto, our star hero tank that we
It's a
also
good
have
tank.
here at Tankfest, and that will include the Tankfest black camo. With
That
the
is a
tank.
good camo.
Yes. So again, if we can go ahead and put that. Oh, the link is live. KB is on top of it. We'll let that run for a little bit, and then we'll call
There's some
out
good
the
options
winner.
there. Look good free tanks.
Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah. So we'll let that one sit for a little bit. We'll come back to it. Oh, here is our Chieftain Proto in game, also with the camo applied to it. So this is going to be the giveaway that we'll give to one lucky winner.
Yeah, that's good. Nice, good visual when you walk into the entrance of Tankfest, just parked right up front.
Yeah. One thing worth noting, because it did kind of come up. Here's the in-person real tank here at Tankfest. You can tell there's a little bit more blue. It's a little bit more vibrant versus what we have in the game. It's worth noting that new paint job was just recently applied to their Chieftain Proto here at the Tank
it is a
Museum.
day old, so.
It's a day old, but we kind of inspired them. We took reference of their original paint job, added it, or am I getting that backwards? We added
I think so.
the camo to our game first,
One of the two.
the way we designed it, and then they wanted to grab that paint job and apply it to their actual Chieftain Proto here on site.
I still like it. I love it.
All right. We'll come back to the giveaway. Anything else you want to say about the French Cold War tanks?
I mean, honestly, they're just a lot of fun. I know a lot of people love the autocannon on the AMX-30B2 that we released already. Giving the option of more tanks to be able to take down like light tanks or just pester other players, it's going to be a lot more fun because we've played tested for a long time now, and it definitely mixes up the game. So,
Is this going to be a good contender to go up against the Forad?
oh, definitely.
Definitely. Okay.
And like I said, we have the Brenus. The ERA does block APCR as well as, heat rounds and ATGM, so it does have more armor, so that should definitely give the Forad a run.
Awesome. All right. So hopefully you guys are excited for the French Cold War line coming really soon as part of our War Heroes season. And beyond that, I think we're ready to move into some more content offerings in the very near future. Let's see.
What we got?
The Calliope.
Oh, the Calliope.
The Calliope. This was hinted at, of course, as part of our ongoing alliance of throughout the year for users who complete every given season, and they can eventually unlock the Calliope for themselves at the end of the year.
Now before everyone starts going crazy, they're rockets, unguided rockets, not ATGMs, because every time this gets brought up, everyone says, oh, guided missiles in World War II, that's crazy. No, they're rockets. Rockets.
Missiles not coming to World
rockets.
War II, everybody.
So don't worry. It'll be okay. Everyone will be safe.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to playtest this one yet?
I actually did before we left. Not 100%. Still working on the rockets. But yeah, it's fast firing. It's not going to do crazy amounts of damage. It's more to be like barrages, but it's like a mixture between your main gun, which is 75 millimeter, and then the rockets. But the rockets are fun to shoot, so they will do damage. It won't be ridiculous, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. We plan to get this one into our internal play tests pretty soon. We need a lot of usability, a lot of balancing. This will, of course, come down to you and your tank team.
Always.
It's always a balancing effort. So, yeah, we'll give you guys some updates and time in some of our future streams to come, of course, to let you know how this one is developing.
But we do have to do a stream before we tune it, so it's just like fireworks, just everyone firing rockets all over the place because everyone wants to see that.
Yeah. And as always, with much of our content, tank releases, we do a lot of playtesting with it, of course. And our loyal super testers will also have their hands on, give us their feedback and usability on the Calliope. And this might be something, once we are content of where it might be and good to hand off to Super Test, we can get their hands onto this tank earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
And, that'll help pivot us if we need to think about, how many rockets can you, quick fire off out of this tank immediately, or do we have to kind of set it like a clip reloader in some way? You never know.
That's the thing is, like, everyone should realize is, like, when we do different things like this that we've never done before, we generally do multiple playtests because, first we want to dip our toes in, see if it's okay, see what the reaction is. Is it too crazy? Is it not enough? And so we just keep going from there. And so it'll be multiple tests where people will get their hands on it, see how it is.
Yeah.
We'll respond to feedback, see how it's going, and then try to improve it to the best we can.
Yes. Again, this is the Calliope coming toward the end of this year, so still got some time on that. And otherwise, should we check out that giveaway?
Yes. Someone needs to win. Someone needs free stuff.
Who's getting the Chieftain Proto? No, not yet?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Not yet. We gonna let it sit for a while. We do
It's got to simmer. It's
Gotta simmer. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll circle back to that one
I
then.
guess. Although someone wants to know what they want.
Anything else you want to talk about in the Calliope?
No.
Nothing for now. Stay tuned.
I mean, it's rockets. Like, a lot of people see the videos of them just firing off, and it's kind of the field we kind of want to get.
Yeah.
It looks so cool, and so we just don't want it to be overpowered, or you guys to just go like, oh my god, I can't do anything against this. Like, what am I gonna do? So we just want it to look really cool and be fun and just enjoyable for everyone, not only the person who's shooting it, but as well as you're getting hit by it, I can run away. So
Yeah. And something just very new into the game that also makes sense. It's not going to be crazy, like inaccurate in terms of historical accuracy.
Although I know someone's gonna say these rockets are too slow. Yes, they're like really old rockets. They're not gonna be that fast. So
Yeah.
you should be able to dodge them. There'll just be a lot of them coming at you.
Yeah.
I got just one interesting question here
Yes.
off stream. Maybe we can answer that already as a spicing up.
Hit us.
Do you already know what tier the Calliope is going to be?
I know a general area, so it's around maybe 6 or 7, depending.
Okay.
My big holding back is just the gun, because generally I want a stronger gun for that tier, but the rockets might be the game changer, so we'll see.
Yeah. And, that's a great question because a lot of our tanks, even almost up to day of release, we will kind of rethink of like, oh, actually, this tank is going to be more appropriate at this tier or era, And that's also, a testament from our super test who give us feedback, and we realize they got a great point here. I think this tank does fit better at this tier or this era, And, some slight tuning might be needed to apply as well. Just,
Well, that's
sure
the thing
everything
is,
aligns.
we want to find the right spot for it so it has a good experience. So you're not always like bottom tier, top tier. Like you're just that nice little sweet spot where, you're not always winning, but, you can beat up on some people every now and then and have a lot of fun doing it. So
Absolutely. Okay, so that was talking about the later in the year content. You guys, War Hero Season has a lot more secrets and content that they don't even know about yet. And it's coming all very soon. And that's what we're going to get into next.
Which one?
So, players have been asking, and when are we going to be bringing some more training scenarios into the game?
I always think we need more. We need so
A little
much
bit
more.
more. Yes. The initial player experience has been a thing that we keep a very close eye on and pulse. And we do make iterative changes from every single milestone, every single season, kind of updating it and making it a little bit more clear to new users what they need to understand. That being said, we also wanted to keep in mind our veteran users. What can we offer to our veteran players that can give them a little bit more advanced training? They don't need the basics, but what are things that maybe they wouldn't be aware of? And so our first steps here is an advanced training menu that you will see in your game modes menu screen. And from here, we divided this out into specific tank mechanics that we will kind of teach players a little bit further on. And to furthermore elaborate on this is also to kind of help players bring awareness to the players of tanks with very niche, specific mechanics exist in this game, but you may not entirely know with a game that has, close to 1,000 tanks.
So that's the thing is like this is what we always strive to improve on is there's so much information coming at the players. Like you guys, you play a lot, but you don't play everything. And so unless you're spending time doing all these different things, you don't really pick up on certain aspects of the game. So like some people don't play arties, some people don't use ATGMs, or sometimes I don't know how to use it, so I don't want to try it yet. Well, this is a way to get your foot in the water and just try to experience it, because we have so much information to teach you that we can't always do it at the same time. So we don't want you to have to, go and do other things to try and figure out how does this work. We want to help you so you have an easy way to understand it, be able to jump in, pick it up, and then, I got it. All right, I'm going to use this in game. So.
Yeah, and this is going to help give player, agency and choice of what tech tree line of tanks they want to go follow next, right?
That could also help, a lot.
Yeah.
Because, some people, surprisingly, I never tried ATGMs. Well, now you can go up a light line, or I never tried an MBT. Well, try these out. There's so many different things you can try, and so, wheeled vehicles, not everyone tries those. So this is a good experience. So, you don't have to go up a whole line. You don't have to play for who knows how long. You can just jump in, try something new, and then
see if you like it, try it out. Yeah. And even on completion, you can see it here in the menu. We do give rewards for players that run through the training itself. It's a little bit of an incentive just to kind of have a look at it. And you might be surprised at some of the things that we teach you, or maybe it's just all stuff that you are all already so familiar with.
Well, even then, it's I think I'll spend 5 or 10 minutes getting free stuff. It's free, so
it's free.
Why not?
Yeah.
I know how to do this. I'll get more free stuff. I'll take it.
To talk a little bit more on it, so the way the missions work, very different from the current set of training missions. Let me circle back really quick. This is my brain sometimes picking up on certain notes that might be very important to give more context.
No, that's always good.
Yeah, so we did update the current existing set in the game of training missions that used to be called Vietnam, Seek and Destroy. Yeah. And the whole menu was called just the training missions. That is now training basics. So those now all fall in a basics menu. And it has kind of the same paneling and artwork on there. You won't receive any extra rewards if you go back to the basic training ones. But we followed this new format and now created a training advanced menu. And that's what we're looking at right here. And when you dive into any one of these training advanced missions, it's a little bit less narrative and more of you're in a actual, set up training grounds.
No, that makes sense.
You got target tanks out there in the field that won't fire on you. There's no penalty for being shot at or not finishing the training in time. Plus, we give players the option, if they choose, to follow a more curated training route. You will see this little pop-up, it'll say tutorial, in the world space itself. Or there's also a free roam option. And free roam, if you approach this, we won't do any sort of hand holding through the training mission. You just kind of approach a set of sandbags and you're more or less in a shooting gallery.
Yeah.
Now.
See, I also love this because for me, when I'm playing other games, the same thing. You go into a training level, you're okay, another training level. You just speed through it. You generally know what you're doing, so you're okay, hit these targets, speed run, or something else of some form of training.
Yeah.
And so in this way, you can just focus on what you want to do. I want to shoot missiles. Okay, shoot missiles. I want to just shoot things over here. Just go do that. So that way, you can just focus on what you want to. You don't have to follow the rules. You can just go at it, learn some new things, and be done.
Exactly. So, Training in Advance will be coming out. I think we are unlocking it on Tuesday. I might need a confirmation. Okay, I got a head nod. It is going to be unlocked in the game this coming Tuesday. So when you see it in the game modes menu under training, you will now see a basics and an advanced option. Furthermore, there'll be 5 different training options for you guys. There'll be artillery training. There'll be wheeled vehicle training. Siege mode training, which you'll have one of the Sturv tanks and learning a little bit more about that, and the usage of a tank destroyer.
Well, they're just fun. STRVs are awesome. Little
yeah.
Things, so.
And of course, multi-turret tanks and the ATGM training. And to that end, we are still talking internally of continuing to well, one, improve our training missions themselves and even add on more. There's much more we can teach
there's so
into
much
the
to
game.
learn.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily have to be more focused on more tank-specific mechanics. We have a complex game. There is plethora of things for us to cover.
I mean, they're just like, we could do like simple things like, well, we have talked about it, but like simple things like map mechanic or battle mechanics, like hull down, side scraping, like simple things like that, or just strategy to certain maps of go east side, go along the river, or take certain areas in certain key positions in a map where you can hold it down and start controlling and taking over the map. Like there's a lot of things we can teach. So these are just a number of things we've talked in internally.
Yeah, and a lot of it is this a mechanic we want to teach in the game, or is this better as some sort of a tutorial, like pop-up tip? Is it something that might be better just described in a pop-up menu box in some way, or should we actually spend the time of creating an entire scripted mission, which is a very timely process. Shout out to our level designer who worked through all of these training advanced missions themselves. And he worked very closely with our art team as well. Kind of did a rework version of the steps map to kind of have all of this set up.
Well, that is a good map, so
Yeah,
you can never be bad at that.
exactly. And let's see. Anything else on the training missions?
I mean, honestly, no. I mean, it's just anytime we can help players understand certain features, or not even teach, but just help you practice certain things, or because like in the middle of a battle, you can't always like, hey, I just want to practice aiming my ATGMs or get better at certain mechanics like hull down or siege tanks. Like this is a place where you can just do whatever, get in, get it out, try something new, try something different, or just try something you always thought of. So
Exactly, yeah.
it's not always so structured.
I actually saw, so Super Test also had a very early look at our training missions. And there are two interesting comments of feedback that stood out to me. One user actually wasn't too aware of how ATGMs played in the game.
Yes.
They're very much, our Super Testers are a cohort of World War II focused players and Cold War as well. So this was an opportunity for them to take a look at this and see what it's all about. And they're like, oh wow, I didn't realize like the missile guidance following the red dot target felt this way. And it was a little bit more encouragement to go check out the BMP lines or something.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I have seen feedback of I don't use ATGMs. I've never tried this. Like, well, here's your chance. Go ahead.
It is
try
new
it out.
now. Yes.
If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. But I mean, if you like it, use it some more. Come back.
There's another interesting comment about how we've implemented for multi-turreted tanks, being able to do multi-lock-on with the auto-aim. And so we do a very brief rundown of how you can do that into the mission itself. And we got some feedback like, oh, I didn't know it worked that way. And hey, that's the purpose and goal of our new training missions here.
No, I mean, that is true, because like we do add new things. We don't explain everything. We don't get to like write it all down and do this, that, and this is what it does. It's just, it's there, you get to try it out. So now this is actually a little bit more helpful.
Yeah. All right, also, look forward to our new training advanced menu and missions coming this Tuesday. All right, that's not all. War Hero season still has some secrets coming along.
What? Secrets? No.
Secrets, more secrets. Here we go, we have it on screen right now. Players have been asking quite a while, like when will we see some more event modes, more game modes, something different from the standard battle, the encounter, the things that players are used to for years now, going through random battle. And yes, we knew that players wanted some more variety into the game. And for several months, the design team, we've been prototyping and coming up with various different ideas and things that we can try that would be very effective, but give players a new space to play their own owned tanks into different and new battles. So this is more or less, I'll talk a lot about the details that we're seeing on screen here in just a moment, but what we are kicking off is a new initiative for event battle mode. This is, in the past, we've done event battles that were much more, our Halloween Monster Mash
Halloween,
mode.
April Fools.
Our April Fools, like Tugboat mode.
Christmas.
The toy tank for Christmas holiday. And, those could be fun. They could be very silly. But we wanted to aim toward allowing event battles that can work year-round. something that we can just have a select weekend through the summer, not tied to any holiday or major event, but
or even just trying things out. Like there's lots of things like players suggest, or internally we're like, hey, what if we tried this? And so that gives us a lot more opportunity to just try something out, let you see it, see what the response is good, is it bad?
Exactly that. So beyond just offering more game modes to the players to engage with, it also gives us a space to experiment that doesn't impact the ecosystem of Cold War or World War II in any way that would drastically change what they know about the game. A great example, I'll bring this up, players have been asking, and I'm going to stress this, a very small amount of players have asked, like, will you bring like smoke consumables to World War II?
We had another talk on the side about that. So not only that smoke shells we've talked about.
Yes.
So yeah.
The answer is no. Like, we don't plan to bring smoke into World War II, but as an event mode, if players want to have fun and try out smoke consumables in a different capacity, I'm not saying we're implementing that into the design of these event battles, but that's just the concept of where we can try something out like that and see if players like it. Here's another great suggestion: Maple Klein, Team Health in the HUD or something, or maybe like a hardcore mode with no HUD at all or something.
Well, that's a little trickier. Well, just for me, because like I want to know how my team's doing, or like who's alive, who's dead. But like the
team composition is important.
Team health bar. Oh my God, I would be behind that, because like, are we doing okay? Like, oh, we're all alive, we're fine, we're fine. Everybody's got like a sliver of health. Like we're just an inch away from losing the battle. So like, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, so it might be something we experiment. I mean, that is in and of itself is just a quality of life feature, but it might fit in the event battles in some capacity that,
or just even an option, just toggle the HUD. Like,
yeah, someday. So yeah, the event battles is not only a space of experimentation, but allows us to try incremental things over time. Don't expect like every time we release this event battle that there's a drastically new thing.
Yeah, no. It just means we're testing it, trying out, and then we'll see how it goes. So,
yeah. And a lot of these event battles, as you're kind of seeing here in the video footage, will, for the most part, be strictly a 7v7 format. Reason being, we don't want to continue to kind of divide our player base into an additional matchmaker, and we don't want players to have kind of a poor match experience that may get more auto-filled with more AI bots in the game. We want to strive for more player versus player interactions in these sort of scenarios.
So I will stress, so the big thing that I always gets me anyways, when there's smaller battles, is like 7v7, okay, you're not going to be doing a lot of fighting. Well, the difference is with respawning, we can make these battles a lot more frenetic. So there may be only 7 people in there, but there's like a lot of combat going on. Like you're constantly engaging, dying, engaging, coming around again. So it's a lot more frenetic than you would imagine. So, and plus, so with this game mode, it drives all the players to centralized locations. So it's not like someone's hanging out on the side of the map. Well, if he is, you're probably not going to win. So,
not being very helpful.
Yeah, so like this kind of draws everyone into combat areas, and so there's a lot more engagement, and so it's, I want to say, a lot more active than normal battles. So
the adrenaline gets pumping in this mode. So let's dive in. Let's talk about this mode that we are showcasing on the screen. We are calling this Control game mode, and very soon, July 7th, will be our first live beta test of Control game mode that you'll see at the very bottom of the game modes menu, where you'll be able to matchmake into a 7v7 just like this. With multi-base encounter. There's one thing to stress here. You've mentioned that we have respawn in here, but there's also 2 bases. And what's going on with this whole point bar system and this progress bar on the top of the screen? A lot of things happening here. I'm sure players are having some questions.
Tickets.
A ticket system. So in this game mode, when you capture a base, it's not the end of the match itself. The game keeps going. But if your team owns the base, you are now accruing points over time. And the first team to reach 1,000 points by whether they are collecting points by base ownership or even by destroying other tanks, you do get points that way as well. First team to reach 1,000 wins the match.
Well, I also want to stress, so like this isn't only about like capturing the bases, because like he said, you killing other tanks. So the more you stay alive and kill other tanks, the bigger your bonus gets. So like, if you just get like a nice prime spot, take out like 2-3 tanks, you can easily start building up your, I guess, your score in a way where it just amplifies your team's earnings, and
Yeah.
you can drive that win so much easier. So it's not only just capping. Like if you're going around and killing all of the enemy, that will help to an easy win.
Absolutely. And you know, this also encourages a lot more base defense. So it's not just capture and done, it's now capture and, okay, do I move on and try to go for that other base elsewhere in the map? Or I think the enemy is encroaching on us, let's hold this position, defend it. The longer that you just hold that base, you know, those points will keep on coming. If you hold both of the bases, then you're getting both sets of bases accruing points, you know, twice as fast now.
Well, that's the other thing too to think about is when your team is doing that, like you have to decide how many people are going to base A and base B, because you don't really know who's going where on the other team. So
Exactly.
like it could be one guy going to scout the one base, capture it, and then you're all alone, but no one ever goes there. Or it could be like half the team's going there, and then you easily capture the other base. So
And that's what makes it tricky.
there's a lot of strategy involved.
It's tricky because that's why it's also a 7v7. So it's an unequal number of players. If you needed a split for one half going to base A and the other half going to base B, well, you can't do like, it's going to be 4 and 3, right? And you don't know what your opposing team is going to come in.
Also, when you kill that other player, just remember, he's going to remember that. So he's going to think, oh, I know where
I'm
he
coming
is.
back for
I'm coming
you.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
So some other details we can kind of talk about on control game mode and the whole event battles initiative here. Respawn for this isn't infinite lives. There isn't like a finite number of them, though that's a number we can play with if that's something we want to tweak in the later down the line.
There are some respawn delays, so it's not always static.
Yes.
That's the other thing to know. And so sometimes, like, if you keep piling it on, you're going to keep taking longer and longer to respawn. So
Yes.
don't die, but also don't always worry about, like, I saw a question like, is there going to be spawn camping? Well, honestly, probably not. Like, the way it's set up right now is it's really hard to do that, so we got it in a good spot.
And on that note, again, that we are running this as a beta because we need to collect a lot of data. When we go live with our control mode and our event battles, we got to make sure that we are handling this right. You will be allowed to collect earnings, silver and XP through this mode, but because of Respawn, there's opportunity to really bank in a lot of silver and XP. If you are a good pro player and you play right,
So I will
get
say
a
one
lot of
thing.
destroys.
I still will say one thing.
Yeah.
I saw the perfect suggestion: revenge kill medal.
a revenge.
Yes, that is a perfect spot because nowhere else. He's like, oh, you killed. Oh, I'm gonna get you back for that.
The Get You Back medal. We did talk very briefly on this game mode does have potential for just bringing in brand new medals into the game. So I actually really like that suggestion. We'll keep that a little side note.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'd do it. I'd totally.
Some other details about this. So we look at these event battles as having a lot of filters, levers to filter the game, right? When we first go live with control mode beta, it will be restricted to tier 8s only. So single tier matchmaking. This isn't like a +2, -2. It's not even a +1, -1. It will always be, well, I'm not going to say always, but we aim this to be single tier matchmaking. So July 7th, our control mode beta, grab your tier 8s, jump into the game. You'll only be matching up with other tier 8s.
I mean, the other good thing about that is kind of, so like tier 8's kind of like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where no one's like, the power levels are kind of the same for everyone. So it's like not like someone's like drastically higher or lower than anyone else. So it's like everyone's kind of evenly distributed. So it's a lot easier to play. And so should be make everyone happy. So
It's a good tier to just enjoy the game and have excellent combat experience. And that was the one that we play tested a lot internally.
we have. It's
Yeah.
fun.
What else was I going to say on that matter? No RT.
Yeah, no Artie.
So no RTs will be allowed to
be
queue
happy
in.
about that one.
7v7, tier 8s. We got T Kane. Oh, hiding in the turret back there. Little cameo.
It's like Groundhog Day.
You're right. Yes, so control mode at beta launch, 7v7, tier 8s, no artillery. All nations will be supported. And I'm trying to think if there's another filter I'm not thinking about right now.
It'll come to us in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, probably. So later down the line, We can also do control game mode as an event where we turn on Cold War.
Yeah.
Later in July, we will allow Era 2 Cold War to engage with our control game mode.
Yes, we have already tried this, so it's nothing crazy. So
Yes.
we've tried it on different maps, different areas, small maps, big maps. It's a lot.
Can you platoon in it in the mode?
You should.
I don't know. Have we tried that?
It should work.
Maybe?
Yes. Because this goes through the exact same event battle matchmaker that is already working with Halloween mode and Toy Tank holiday mode. So that those systems are supported as part of our control mode and newer event battles initiative. So yes, you can hop in, you can do your 3-player platoons into the 7v7 battle formats.
And one more question from our
Yes.
hardcore audience. How does the control mode affect the marks of excellence? Are they going to be
It does
excluded?
not.
Okay, it's
Okay.
excluded.
Let me stress one more time, this is a beta release of it. Through the rest of this year, we will be intermittently unlocking the event mode again for players to jump in. We'll have more data to research, and eventually we might consider marks of excellence as something you could earn. Maybe. That is something that, one, we'll collect the data on, and two, whether or not players think this is a game mode in which it makes sense.
Yeah, because I think we'd probably just wait till it's like a full-fledged mode before we go.
Yeah.
So.
And to that same point, because that's a great question and a note I wanted to bring up, this mode currently will not impact your stats. So your win rate, your KDR.
All free, go to town. Just
Have fun with it.
Leroy Jenkins right down the middle. Whatever you want to do, just go for it.
Yeah. And again, that could change later down the line, but because we're presenting this as a beta test, we wanted to make sure that this isn't going to be impacting player stats by any gross means. I mean, it's a completely new thing that we're introducing into the game. Respawn is going to be a very different mechanic. We want to make sure that this isn't going to really screw with people's stats, and that's another problem that we'd have to deal with otherwise.
'Cause, yeah, I mean, the one thing is it's very easy to pick up, but it's definitely different enough where you're not going to feel the same way as you always do when you're playing just regular cap the base, be done, game over. This is a constant struggle, so it's kind of pretty engaging. So you'll love it.
And this is where you, the players, the community, will also come very handy to help us develop this mode and improve it. I am anticipating when we go live with this, we are allowing all tier 8s, except Artie. Going to stress that one more time. No Artie. All tier 8s, but we might find that players are going to discover interesting combinations.
There's
of
always
tanks.
something we haven't found. So
Yeah.
it's inevitable. Inevitable.
Yeah, and we gotta determine, okay, this mode feels maybe a little bit imbalanced because players were able to go in with all of these.
Something. It's going to
yeah.
be something. It's going to be horrible, but it's be glorious. It'll be great.
Yeah. And yeah, so further down the future, later in July, like I said, we will also have the game mode available for Cold War, Era 2. That one will be restricted to light, medium, and heavy tanks. And then maybe the season after that, we'll kind of switch it up a little bit. Maybe we'll look at the lower tiers, tier 5, tier 6 in some capacity. And, continue to tool around and try out new ideas.
We'll do it. We'll do it all.
We'll do it all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to point out on that front. When you do jump into the game mode for your first time, or on at least first login, when you see the game mode in the menu screen and you enter it into the game mode itself, into your garage, you will get a pop-up that'll give you kind of a brief rundown of the rule sets of the game mode and a kind of a criteria of the filters that we have enabled for that event weekend. So you'll be able to see right away, oh, okay, this is going to be a tier 8 only. Oh, okay, there's my light tanks, my medium tanks, my heavies are applicable, tank destroyers. So that will all be kind of messaged to you guys when you log in and jump into the mode.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a streamlined filter system. So instead of you having to go search for your tank, it's just filters are already set. Okay, here's my list of tanks I can pick.
Yep.
That, or that, done. You don't have to go digging through the menus and be like, oh, what am I going to use? No.
Exactly.
Just right straight to it. So.
And we mentioned this a couple times. This is going to be an experimental mode for us on design and development, where we have a lot of other backlog ideas that we want to try out. It's going to take time to get to those, but this is also an opportunity for you, the players. If you guys have ideas, something that might play really well and interesting in 7v7, you might come up with something that we might latch onto and say, Hey, Leo.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We
Yeah.
might have to do something about that. Okay. I'm trying to think if I had any other updates on control mode. Did we cover? I think we covered the gist of that one.
I think it turned out pretty good.
Oh, players might be curious, how did we come to a decision on, why control mode? Why are we doing this whole event battles initiative a little bit? We look at our colleagues, World of Tanks PC as well as World of Tanks Blitz. They come up with a lot of unique game modes and different play styles, whether it's wacky or also allowing players to take their owned tanks into new battles. We were taking a look at front lines on World of Tanks PC or Steel Hunters. Yeah. But we also have our own, on the Modern Armor console side of things, we have our own technical limitations that we have to be very mindful of. And also think about if we want to deliver a new game mode within a reasonable time frame, we got to think and prioritize our development time cycle, right? Something like front lines, even if we reduce front lines, PC is a 30 versus 30. Yeah. We can't support that.
Not yet. Sorry.
Not yet. So that was already out the window. Next was well, how do we develop a map that can support an idea of an advancing asymmetric battle game mode like Frontlines into our game? And we ran into hurdle after hurdle, and we couldn't really align on a direction for something like Frontlines. So we had to shelve that one for now.
Although, yeah, I would say stuff like this, we want to do so many things like that, or we've tried to do things in the past. Just because we're not doing it now doesn't mean we won't do it in the future. It's just we can't yet, but we'll probably find a way how to.
Yeah. And hey, this Event Battles Initiative, again, could be the space for us to achieve those kind of results.
Throw down in.
Throw down in. All right. Like I said, look forward to Control Game Mode coming on July 7th. It will run through the weekend. You will be able to choose any of your Tier 8 tanks, not the Arty. And yes, you can earn silver and XP for participating in the event as you normally would. Okay. Up next.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what this one is?
Nope, not at all.
Liar. Yeah, Mr. Plague, what is it?
Well, some of you might know what it is, some of you might not. This is the Object 477A Molot. This thing is kind of a Cold War beast. So,
that's an understatement.
So every time I add something new, there's always, okay, that armor's crazy, or the pen's crazy. Well, this is crazier by a lot. What do I say? Challenger 2. That was a previous high point of, I want to say 1,200 armor, or 1,200 basic armor in the turret. Well, this has 1,300 in the hull. So don't try penning it at certain spots. Turret, you hit it, it's not going to take damage. I mean, it's kind of this is, in a way, this is kind of like the predecessor to the modern day T-14, where it's an automated turret. The crew is all buried deep and safely inside the hull. So you shoot the turret, it's not going to do anything. It is very, very strong from the front. It's got a lot of pen, and it's got a huge gun. These all sound horrifying. It's not that bad. There's obviously going to be trade-offs. You're not going to be able to turn that fast. If you shoot it from the side, the rear, it's going to take some damage. We've beat up on these things in playtests. But if you know what you're doing and you angle it right and you don't let anyone near you, you can hold your own against a lot. It's fun. So think of the early days of I want to say, an E100 or a mouse, or just sitting there and taking on multiple tanks and just, no one's going to come and get me because I will kill them. But then, I can't really take them on because there's I'm outnumbered. So you just kind of whittle them down and you just have that fight. So this is one of those tanks where it's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a cool little tank. And I don't know if you guys
it's not
noticed
little.
Well, to me it is. Compared to some other things.
Okay.
But the other thing to notice is there's an autocannon on there. There's a 20 mil. So you can whittle people away with that. You have the massive main gun. And it's a beast. So it's going to be a TD in our game. Essentially, it was kind of like an MBT, but it was an experimental. But this thing is basically designed to kill other tanks. So this will be a big bad TD in our game. and it's a beast. I don't. Everyone in our studio loves it, so I mean, it's going to be tough.
It's fun.
It's
Yeah.
fun. So
It's fun, but it is tough.
yeah. All right, I'll put it out there for those who are watching, since you know how to take this thing on. So you never attack from the front, but if you attack super low, very weak on the lower hull. Or if you attack on the sides, so if you see the heavy side skirts, those are basically ERA. Like there's ERA all inside there. If you can get behind that or shoot lower, like the lower hull is basically the same as all like Russian tanks. Like there's 20 millimeter, pen it all day, sides, pen it all day. So as long as you're smart and not trying to shoot the turret or like the front of the thing, because you just don't want to mess with that, you can take them out. Like they'll be tough, yes, but you'll be able to handle them. Because they're gonna have longer reloads. They're not gonna be as accurate as some of the other tanks, but if you do have it, it's gonna be a beast. So you'll love it. It's fun.
And did we talk about which era this one
Yes,
is coming out on?
so this is gonna be like top of the tree, era 3. So Cold War, it's gonna be taking on like the Leopard 2A5, the Challenger 2, the M1A2, like all the big guys and everyone in between. So beat them up, but if you're with them, have fun, because it's a ride to play. So
And this one's also coming out this season.
yes,
Yes. Like
it's
I said,
worth it.
It's worth it. Like I said, we have a lot of surprises, and there's, we talked about a new tank line coming, got a new game mode and a new tank.
Yes.
Anything more you want to say on the Molot?
I mean, it's kind of a light tank. Like it's kind of based on a light tank because it's a lot lighter than most heavy tanks and most mediums. So like we had to kind of slow it down a little bit because it's got a lot of power. Because like it's hard because it has so much armor in the front that people were getting really upset. They're like, this is impossible to kill.
Yeah.
But we played a lot of playtests with it, and so it's not. But to appease some people, like we had nerfed some other areas. So like we had to slow it down a little bit, make it not as agile as it should be. But balanced out with the gun and the armor, like it should be one great tank still, even not being as what it once was. So
Right. Awesome. Well, hopefully everyone's looking forward to this Molot.
I would be.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Are we good to go on our winner for the Chieftain?
Or is it still simmering?
Is it still simmering?
I will check with KB in the back.
Okay.
I will let you know.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll get a status update on the Chieftain Proto winner in just a minute here.
Well, there's also other prizes still,
And
too.
we still got some pending prizes that we got to start putting out there too.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, for anyone who
Yeah.
hasn't tried the Chieftain Proto, so it's kind of very different from the Chieftain Mark 6. So the Chieftain Proto actually has, like, more bouncy armor. Like, the turret for the tier and everything else, it's thicker, so it bounces a lot more shots. So the tank doesn't feel as agile as the other one will be. But when you get into it, like, it's a strong tank, so, like, you'll enjoy it a lot. So
Awesome.
it's kind of like the old classic, like, beefy, strong, heavy tank that bounces shots and gives a nice big alpha damage back. So
Absolutely.
I think everyone will like it.
Sweet. Let's see. Players have been asking, they're always asking about new maps coming up, or what's the next returning map. And as we showcased in the trailer, and actually if we're still watching here, the Molot tank,
There's nothing different about this map. It's the same.
nothing different. This is here we have it, and a better look here.
Not gonna lie, I've been wanting this for ages.
Yes. Oh,
Like,
did you?
oh, yes. Well, because there's so many open areas, the hills.
Yes.
Like I like range combat, and then for like when you want to brawl, like you just go to the town. Like, so many options.
Yes. So we debuted Nebelburg map as part of our War Heroes season trailer. So players got their first glimpse at a new map, first time ever on the console. This is in fact a WoT PC map that we
Yeah.
were able to finally import and get into our game itself. On that note, on the World of Tanks PC map import pipeline process, we finally have something working for us. It's worth noting, for years, we as developers on World of Tanks Modern Armor, our engine and tool sets have very much diverged from what World of Tanks PC has been doing. So our capacity, because we need to support for console, so we have to develop our tool sets to work and be compatible for what we deliver to the Xbox and PlayStation platforms.
Not to mention like all the set dress, the grass, everything. It's like the resolution and everything else is optimized for our game as opposed to the PC, where they're like, hey, you got a high-end PC? Go to town. Like
Exactly.
we have to make sure it's not too crazy, otherwise,
Yeah.
bad day.
Yeah, so we were, for the longest time, unable to just take a PC map. It's not like a single data file, copy
Yeah,
and
it's a
paste.
lot
Oh, hey,
of
we're good to
information.
go. It's a lot of information. It'd be a lot of heavy lifting work on both the level designers, the environment art team.
Yeah.
Though there's definitely going to be some technical restraints and things that we got to figure out, and not to mention just gameplay testing at the same time. So I do, a shout out to our level designer,
It's
our tech
huge
designer.
amount of work.
Yeah, huge amount of work, as well as our environment art team, who were able to help create kind of a script and pipeline for finally importing these maps into our game itself. Okay, well, we will continue to talk more on Nebelburg, but I got notice we have our winners for the Chieftain Proto. We have 2 winners, and each of you will be receiving the Chieftain Proto as well as the Tankfest black camo that comes with the tank.
I just like the names.
Do you want to take the first one? I'll take the second one.
Okay, the first one is Ghost of Nature.
Ghost of
Oh, wait,
Nature.
the Ghast of
Ghast
Nature.
of Nature.
Fail.
We
Fail.
just got to lean in and squint a little bit. The
Sorry.
text file is.
Maybe I'm
that's
getting
good.
too old. I don't know. Where am I?
Congratulations, Ghast of Nature. And winner number 2, Matcha Mango. The 2 of you will be receiving Chieftain and Protos along with this, the Black Tankfest camo, credited to your accounts in the next coming days.
No, this will be sweet.
Yeah. What I usually like to do, if I can get that up one more time onto the screen, I like to just roll with the next giveaway. Just get another one pending. Let
Just
the
wanna
players
throw
know.
it on out there. Just
We're not
give
going
it
to
away.
call the winners yet.
No, of course not. That would be too easy.
But
Gotta
we
keep
got-
the suspense.
Gotta keep the suspense a little bit.
But
Our
we
next,
can.
But do we have some
Yes, for the Vipera.
for the Vipera?
Oh.
Yes.
Let's hold off on announcing the winners.
Gotta
But-
give it a little time.
Gotta give it a little
bit.
bit of time. The Vipera, we'll give it to 2 lucky winners in a few minutes here. We'll announce who gets that, but the Vipera will be the next tank giveaway.
Another beastly tank.
Another beastly tank. If you haven't already checked it out, again, the Italian tank destroyer line is coming out on
Yes.
Tuesday.
A lot of armor, autoloaders. Oh.
If you want an early, hands-on approach, the Vipera right now is your best candidate.
Yeah, that'll
out
be a good
there.
one.
Yeah.
Also, the Vipera will include the Gladiator skin.
Oh, yes, thank you.
That is
thank
a
you,
cool one.
TK. The Gladiator skin does come with the Vipera, so our winners will be receiving that as well. Let's get back to the map, Nebelburg. So we covered the pipeline process,
Yeah.
and this is something that we finally have going on for our game. Let's talk a little bit about the map itself.
But I was going to say
here.
the one thing is like, that's the one question we always get from like
Yeah.
players is like, can you bring in this map? Can you bring in this map? There's been times where I'm like, can we bring in this map? Because it happens
Yes.
a lot. Like I'll go in and like common test or something and be like, oh, this map is amazing. Can we bring? The thing is like, there's terrain chunks for like every square foot, which we have to compile. There's a whole bunch like the resolution of different patterns of the ground, the terrain, buildings. Like this is all a whole bunch of stuff. And so it's tons and tons of work to bring these maps in. So like just being able to bring this one map, it's taken a lot of work, but like it's a start where we can do this more often.
Yeah.
But again, it's still a lot of work. But just so you guys know, every time you're asking like, we want to bring them, it's not like, if we could, we'd like, sure, take the map. But like, it's just so much work that it takes time. So, I mean, there will be more maps like this. So just look for that. If you find good maps, ping us, message us, be like, try this map or look at this. Because again, these are awesome maps. And when we get them in, it's a win for everybody. So
Yeah, and they come with new assets as well.
Then
So-
we can use them in other places.
Exactly. Yeah. On that same note, to set expectations. Yes, we have a pipeline of bringing in these PC maps. That doesn't mean, oh, okay, every season's another new PC map. There is still a load of work to be done, but the important thing is we have streamlined it and have a working development process to deliver on it. So expect more PC maps, but give us the time, of course. At the same time, we will still keep up with our regular cadence releases of a lot of the returning maps as well that get that,
Make 'em shiny.
visual update, that
Beautiful.
shininess, beauty. Yes, those will still be coming down the pipe as well. Too soon to talk about any of the next ones coming up, but
We got this one. We still have to do this one. So
yeah. All right, Nebelburg. So on World of Tanks PC, this isn't a map that they just have set up for regular random battle rotation. This was part of their grand battles.
I remember it was the
scenario.
first one that used that
Yes.
gameplay, so.
And it's a very beautiful map, and it was a great candidate when we were looking at it. Like, summer maps generally are going to look more appealing.
Oh yeah, the light, the sun. It's
yeah.
just also it makes all the tanks look better, so everyone's like, oh,
That too.
everything looks so pretty.
And in terms of gameplay, being able to see clearly the tanks that you're identifying, because we've used to do some like weather maps in the past. We had some like night maps as well.
Well, that was also the tricky thing too. Is like even like sunsets, or we changed the lighting in the map, and then like one side of the map you're blinded, you can't see the enemy.
Yes,
So we're like,
it was unfair.
okay, we're sorry, we're going to fix that. But like, there's we tried different things out, so just
Yeah.
to make everything more appealing and look cooler and better and shiny.
Yeah. When we went to the drawing board of what map are we going to pluck from PC, like Nebelburg was kind of the clear
It was
winner.
a good option, yeah.
And another reason why, like we said, this was a grand battle map, part of their 30v30 on WoT PC. Again, that's not what we're doing. We're still
No.
a 15v15. But you might be asking, well, hold on a second. How big is this map? Like, if it was meant to host
It's big.
60 players on PC, like, are we doing anything different by bringing it over to World of Tanks Modern Armor? Maybe.
Maybe.
So this is, when we think about a lot of maps that we bring back into the game, or even new maps, we want to be very aware that we have World War II tanks and Cold War tanks. And generally, the Cold War tanks will play a lot better in terms of gameplay
Yes.
on
Oh, they're
larger
great in
scale
these
maps.
This
Yes.
is a great map for Cold War.
Yeah. And that's the reason being we no longer have maps like Calliope, Desful, Fredving. Those used to be in World War II, but over time, through data, gameplay balance, as well as player sentiment from the community, we realized these maps are not really viable in World
Not
War
the
II.
same.
Not at their
Same.
scales. Yeah. So you might be asking, okay, does that mean Nebelburg is Cold War only because it is in fact a larger map? The good news is we tried something a little bit different because we didn't want to just bring this map. We know players would be so excited for a new map to come into the game, and it wouldn't be fair that this would only exist into Cold War or
Yeah, that
just
would
in
not be
World
fair.
War II. This is a 1.4 kilometer squared map in terms of its border.
It's slightly large.
Slightly, that's on par with our current going Cold War maps, Desful, Calliope of the Lights.
It's a big boy.
Yeah, and we already know that size dimensions do not work in World War II. What our level designer was able to do, and a lot of fudging the borders a little bit here and there just to make it fit better and make sure we don't have some weird dead ends. The map is set for World War II at 1.2 kilometers.
Yeah.
And that is on the higher end of the spectrum in terms of large maps that we have in World War II. What is going on here with the camera?
There's a dog. There's
Oh.
always a dog.
I have a
He's a
thumb.
good boy.
I can only see a small thumbnail. I didn't see him back there.
There you go. Perfect.
Aw.
Get all the likes with a dog.
We need a dog commander in the game. There he goes.
See? Who's a good boy? See? They know what's up. Well, no. Well, after the dog. Back to the map thing.
Back to the map.
Back to the map thing. No, like, I mean, really, we didn't want to, like, just make someone in, like, a mouse or, like, T95 cry as they slowly trudge their way across the map and then get there and, like, game over.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Exactly that. And the spawns, we typically set them up to be very smart in terms of if you're going to be
Yeah.
a TD or an SPG. You know, we'll kind of hold you back a little bit, put you on like a higher hill.
Yeah.
The spawns on this map, they do start kind of on these hills, but then there's also kind of a lower encampment area. So there's kind of a mix of the spawns between both ends of there. And at the center of the map, as we can see here, is the big castle. And in the castle,
Everyone wants to go to the
You-
castle. Don't go to the castle. You'll die. You're going to die there.
You will die, but it is a great stronghold.
Yeah, if
point
you can hold
in
it,
the map.
yes. But you have to be in the right tank, in
Yeah.
the right position, because some people just pick the wrong tank. Like, I can't hold down, but I'm going to take it anyway. Like, you're in a Russian tank.
You don't belong there.
Don't go that way. That was a poor choice.
Yeah. The center area does give you an advantage with upper.
It does. If
Higher
you-
elevation. Yeah.
The sniping. If you like sniping and you have a good tank, you just pot shot all day. Just watch that damage rack up.
Exactly, and like up there, you have vantage points that can see about 75% of the map. Not all at once, but if you get to certain edges around this kind of central mound.
So like, there's the main building, or the castle.
The castle
basically.
here.
And then there's that one tower on the left side of the map that is just perfect, where like you just hide behind the building, and there's like this little, I want to say like little, like rock fence, and you just snipe almost the entire map from that spot. But eventually someone's gonna come and hunt you down because they always get angry. But it's a great spot to snipe from. So.
Yeah.
And you have escape routes.
Plenty of like little slides.
Rob, Graham, like they'll be coming in like, oh, you've been sniping me. I'm gonna get you. Like, no, I'm gonna go down the hill. See you later. And then you just, the town's right there, so you can just sneak away, and it's great.
Yes.
So there's a lot of exit routes.
Yeah, there's like small little like single road villages kind of scattered out in the more open fields.
It's kind of like a mini Himmelsdorf in a way.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a mix of Himmelsdorf mixed with.
Actually, just saying this, it's a great map for like all types of tanks. Because like usually when we're playing, like you're either got hills, so if you're like a Russian tank, you're like, oh, I can't pitch down, like I can't hit anything. Or if you're like in a hull down tank, you're like, I don't want to go to the city. They're just gonna pen me all day. You're like, I can't side scrape. So like this is the perfect map where you're like, okay, I'm not going city. Oh, I have the perfect tank for the city. I'm going that way. So like you have a lot more options to like find the key positions in the map with your tank and not feel like, what am I gonna do with this thing?
Exactly.
So it works out great.
Yeah. I am told a lot. This map reminds people of a mix of Himmelsdorf and Fisherman's Bay.
No, that
and I think
makes sense.
that's a very accurate
I see
statement. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys want that more long-range sightline opportunity, or you have that fast, quick tank that can just, skirt around in open fields, the the southeast corner is where you want to hit for all of that. If you want that more brawl zone and that urban corridor
always
combat,
the city.
Northwest City.
Every time, guaranteed. No matter what you do, like, I'm not going city, someone's going city
Someone's going
all
city.
the time.
Yeah.
But I will say, so we have played a lot of this map, and so World War II is a lot of fun, but it's amazing in Cold War, like the hills, the sniping, oh, there's so much range, it's so good.
A lot of elevation opportunities as well. Okay. Is that now? We have a little bit more we could. Okay.
Whatever you need, man.
Just getting some cues for next upcoming segments.
Our
here.
next guest.
Our next guest. So to wrap up on Himmelsdorf, Nebelburg, Himmelsburg. To wrap up on Nebelburg, this is coming during the War Heroes season, launching a new challenge that started today.
Yeah, this morning.
Just this morning, the Road to Nebelburg. You, the community, this is another work together as a player base and collect kills on tanks in any given number of matches. You get 1 point for every tank you destroy. And I believe the number we're looking for is, I think, 7 million. 7 million tanks destroyed.
I mean, that's a couple.
That's a couple tanks. And then once we hit that threshold, that will allow us to unlock the map.
You get a map. Everybody gets a map. Huzzah!
It'll be available in both World War II and Cold War rotation, all eras in Cold War, and I believe tiers 5 and up in World War II. As well, of course, we will always bring the maps available in the custom games. And that's what we have on Nebelburg.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are excited and looking forward to it. Check out the Road to Nebelburg challenge op live in the game now. Let's work together and bring this to the game as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's a great map.
Yeah, very excited about that one.
I mean, I love it, too.
It's always different. Every time we are working on a new map, new tank, the internal playtests are one thing. They're a lot of fun, but it becomes a whole different game experience sometimes.
Yes.
When we bring it out to retail and you hop in there and the meta changes sometimes a little bit.
That's the thing is, like, we know the key points, but when other players and you guys, the community, get out there, like, you do things we never even thought of. So it's like, what? Oh, that's a good spot. All right, we'll try that tactic. So we're all excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Plague. I know you're still
I'm leaving. I'm done.
I know you're going to be hopping off camera here, but we'll still have you available on mic for this next segment.
We've been having a lot of talk, so our next guest.
Yeah.
So.
Before we lose you here, are we ready if we wanted to call out our winners, our two winners for the Vipera?
I mean, we did simmer a little bit.
We simmered a little bit. We let that one sit.
You have them in the Yes, we do.
Fantastic.
So these are the two winners. They are not for the other tanks, so you just read those two.
Gotcha.
So, and in the meantime, I just want to quickly mention something.
Yes.
Since today, there is a special bundle available in game, basically as a Tankfest, as a special Tankfest treat.
Yes.
And we're bringing back the Caliban, basically the hardest hitting tier 8 gun that we have. And
I remember everyone gave me so much guff about that thing. Like,
yeah.
told you, told you.
So that special bundle is available since today in
Fantastic.
3 versions. And I wanted to also quickly say something regarding our War Hero Legends event.
Please.
As a small filler, but you can do the giveaway winners first, and then
We'll circle back.
when we switch, I'm just going to quickly talk about that.
Awesome. Thank you, TK. All right. So our 2 lucky winners that will be receiving the Vipera and the Gladiator's skin. Want to take it away?
Oh, sure. You always start with me. All right. I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to assume
that's
it's
what we
Bomby
do.
Bear. Bomby Bear. B0MI1.
That's Bomb
Bomby
One
Bear.
Bear.
Bomb One Bear.
Bomby Bear? Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm sorry if I butchered it.
That's what we do on stream.
It's hard. It's hard to not butcher it.
Trust me, I'm really bad at
Well, you're
camera
next. So I
checks.
want to see what we say that.
Okay. So, yeah, congratulations, Bomb One Bear or Bomby Bear. Congratulations to you. And our second winner for the Vipera with the Gladiator skin, we have Tautenholm. Tautenholm?
We don't understand these things. You're butchering it. You're
Yeah.
butchering
I'm
it.
butchering it, and that's the takeaway here. Congratulations
Jack
to
had
you
it right.
both.
All right, everyone. I am out. I will be on the side speaking from Voiceland.
The voice of
And our
God
next
over-
guest will
Yes.
take my spot.
Yes, we got a special guest joining us here next. Plague, thank you so much. You'll still be around, but yeah, thank you for joining me on camera.
And in the meantime, I can quickly talk while our CC, Mr. Rikitikitave, is coming on stage. I'm in the background, in the shadows. We had a small issue on our War Hero Legends event over the weekend. It was mainly from Sunday evening until Monday. We had a website problem since our website got DDoSed. Nothing that we unfortunately could handle immediately. So we got a lot of reports that the website was down. It was fixed, and our CRM lead, who is in charge of the entire website, assured us that all of this has been fixed, and as a compensation to everyone who logged in this time up to this date, received 3 additional tokens. So sorry for this. Sorry that happened. Now you can all continue to collect the tokens to unlock the cards.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, TK. Ricky,
Hey, man.
it is great to meet you in person. I know we had plenty of time to hang out, wandering around the Tank Museum. It's been a fantastic time. How has been your experience here been thus far?
It's been incredible, if
Yeah.
I'm honest. I've really enjoyed just it's coming to the end of the first day.
Yeah,
And it's been
yes.
incredible. I was nice and clean at the start. I went outside, Cold War tanks driving around the arena covered in dust. So
And it's been a hot day.
Yeah, it's
we're
been a
we're
warm
both
day,
sweating
yeah.
bullets here. You're getting a lot of shout outs, sir. Everyone's so excited to see you here on stream with us at Tankfest.
hey guys.
And guys, we have Ricky here. You came in with some heated questions that you wanted to ask us on the development side.
There were some hot ones in there, yeah.
Got some hot ones here. Fantastic. And we're going to be going through the rest of our stream here at Tankfest, kind of going through this whole Q&A segment with you. So whenever you're ready, sir, hit us. And again, we do have Plague also on mic. He's going to assist and step in on a lot of the...
I will say, to be fair, me and him did have most of the Q&A just
gonna say,
wandering.
yeah.
We have wandered this entire place. Like, we spent the whole day, like, nerding out. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting time.
I've basically got all the answers to the questions, but I'll read them again anyway.
The players want to know, 1,
Yeah.
the questions, and 2, what were the answers, of course.
All right. Well, this was one that I hadn't actually thought of myself. I'd never thought about this, but this question is, can we get better visuals on how equipment and crew skills will affect crew or the vehicle? So, in effect, if if you equip the gun rammer, you'll have somewhere in the garage, in red or green,
Your detailed stats.
yeah, this is what
somewhere.
your reload was. This is what your reload is now. So you can actually see, oh, hey, that's how much better it is.
Yeah, to just be able to see it on the fly like that, rather than trying to do the calculations and math in your own head. To
That's
see.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this may have come up before, and the TLDR of it is definitely a good quality of life improvements. We can certainly follow up on some ticket on that, because that gives much greater satisfaction to be able to apply these skills, apply this equipment, and see real time, what is this actually doing for my tank? What can I now know and expect when I go into battle with that, knowing that those stats are now on display there. This does come down to a measure where we have to work with our UI and user experience team to figure out, like, yes, where should this best fit in that best communicates to the players, where it makes sense when they're looking at their tanks and applying a lot of this stuff. The obvious answer, of course, would be the loadout screen. Do we have the real estate space for that? Is there a way that we can also dynamically showcase that also in the garage when you have your tank stat panel available there as well? So there's a lot of what ifs and seeing, where we can best address those sort of things.
Because I know some of the stats that would be affected are hidden in the, you go across to the far right hand side for the information, press triangle, Y, and then you've got the detailed stats. I think that's probably where it would be more useful rather than in the garage, because obviously, you've got limited space on the right side.
Yeah. It's a little bit nestled deep into the menus, but like I know yourself and a lot of other veteran players, this is an important detail that would be great to surface that information where possible. So I would agree. Like, I think it's a great quality of life feature that we can start having some discussions on that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Plague, I don't know if you have any follow-ups on that topic.
So I was just waiting for you guys. No, so honestly, we have asked for that in the past. Like, it's kind of one of those things that is still waiting around. Because, like, I don't know if you guys probably noticed, like, when you're going through, like, the weapons or, like, the upgrades of, like, the engine, like, you see the plus, minus of everything.
That's it, yeah.
It was also supposed to carry over to the equipment, but right now it's just, like, a generalized... Because, like, a long time ago, I don't know if you guys remember the bars that we used to have? Like, that actually reflected the changes of, hey, here's the equipment. But since then, like, we don't have a way of displaying to the player, like, you just threw like a stabilizer. Like, this is how much better your accuracy is. It's just things we've wanted, and we're trying to get out there.
I appreciate there's a lot going on.
And really quick, because I know a lot of our streams, players have some expectations of, like, coming in with questions. We have a new, like, questionnaire that players can submit things to. These questions in particular, though, these were questions submitted to you from the community, yes? Okay.
Yeah, these were specifically from people in my community, and I said, send me your questions. So this is primarily where they've come from. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Actually, we also did some random on-the-spot questions just walking around. It's like, what about this? Oh, here you go.
All that will come in the later video.
Oh, fantastic. Ricky's got a lot of content lined up coming soon.
There's some good stuff in there. All right, moving on then. This next one is, can we get some adaptive skins for Cold War tanks rather than just one skin per environment? And I think the motivation for this was it's 3,000 gold for one skin. And that's quite a bit of money just for an aesthetic. So could there just be one price for one skin that adapts to all 4 environments?
Do you want to take this one, Leo?
Okay, I'll go. So, like I said, last night at the pub, basically it's just the way the server works. Like, it's a kind of a limitation because, like, everything is driven by, like, seasons. So, like, you have the summer, you have urban, you have winter, and basically the system just checks for, like, okay, what season is this map? Okay, now I'm going to look at the list of camos that are available or skins. In this case, the skin. And it just looks at those specific instances. So you can't really carry it on to other sections because it doesn't understand the whole, there's multiple seasons. Like, it only understands this season, look here, here's my data. And so, like, it's something we probably could add, but it would take quite a bit of work. And it's not very easy because it's like an underlying system that's been around for ages. Yeah. So that's kind of why, like, you have, like, do you want to apply the skin to all seasons or just the one? Like, I wish there was an easier way to do it, but it's just kind of the limitation of the overall system. So, I mean, it probably could be improved. I just don't know how much work that would be. Because, like, for me, it's like, do that. That makes sense. But I'm not the person who would have to put that in the game. So, I mean, I don't know how much work. Because that's gameplay, that's server, that's UI. And so it sounds simple, but it's actually a lot of work. So
That's always the way, though, isn't it? All right.
Before we move forward, let's talk about, we have another giveaway.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
2 more lucky winners. I think we're not going to announce them. We might have winners picked out, but we'll just announce the next vehicle that we'd love for players to have their chance to earn or be rewarded. Our next tank that we will give away to 2 lucky winners, the M3A1 Bradley, which was a new Cold War Era 2 tank that just went on sale.
Light tank.
Yep. Very recently. So that's going to be our next giveaway. We'll announce those winners in a few minutes. But let's get back to the Q&As.
Yeah. This one has, I've heard this one a lot. Can we get the, instead of the 4 bars for the connection, can we actually get the ping in milliseconds somewhere on the screen?
Somewhere up on the HUD of some.
Top left, yeah, normally.
Plague, did we used to have that, or was that just internal that I'm referring to?
A long time ago, we did have it. But like
That's what I thought.
somewhere along the line, someone's like, that's not pretty enough. And then we went to the bars. Like we were saying yesterday, like we have the data when we're like playtesting. Like every time we play, we always know the ping, the frame rate. So it's always there. So like, honestly, it shouldn't be that hard to do. So put it as like an option in the options and call it a day. Because like the data's there. We can see it every game. Just pass it on to the players, and it shouldn't be that hard.
No, I don't think it's a hard thing at all. Like because we already have it in the game that we see on dev side anyhow. If I had to harken back into why a decision may have been made to remove it, it might have been kind of the console generation direction where games were kind of moving into a more clean interface kind of approach, and things. Developers would look at things like, well, is that really important to players to have? But nowadays, games are kind of circling back, especially because you have games with different new hardware systems that run, like you have the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X, right? And people want to know, like, is this actually a good performing piece of hardware? I would love to know what my ping is on this or my FPS. And so games are starting to circle back and reintroduce that information onto the HUD itself. Okay. So we can talk with the UI department. Like I said, I think it's going to be a very easy lift. We'll just have to investigate and see what we can do about bringing that back.
I'll put you on the spot. Can we get a commitment? A yes?
If it was a tank, I'd be like, sure, but that's the whole different department, so I can't see anything.
Right, okay.
Yeah, this is more of I would have to make a production decision.
Okay.
Yeah. So from a design perspective, we like what it offers, and we can defend the arguments.
All right. This one, I've asked you this before.
Okay.
In our podcast, can we get True Vision in World War II, or at least not override World War II, leave World War II, but can we get the World War II tanks in a True Vision environment?
That's very interesting that you point that out. The chat is going mad. Ricky, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I clarified.
You clarified.
I'm not overriding World War II. No, you guys can keep that as it is. It's fine. But I do miss my Tiger 1 and my Panther. And
I think you bring up a really good argument. You've moved on to Cold War, and that is your primary ecosystem and game mode that you love to play day in and day out. And you still have an ongoing collection of World War II, but the True Vision mechanic is kind of something that you've become too used to, and you would love to have that kind of, to an extent, to have somehow in World War II.
I mean, I will say one thing. Like,
go ahead.
Tanks disappearing, like, it's there, it's not. That's always been weird. Let's all be real. Everyone knows why is that invisible now? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so like honestly, originally when we did Cold War, we wanted to do True Vision in World War II. But the maps were not designed for it. And so when the playtesters did play it, like they were spawn camping, like people with bright colored tanks were not having a good day. Like it was it was a lot. Everyone was like it was a very heavy no, I don't want that. And so I mean if we did it as game mode or like maybe did it in specific maps where it made sense, where you couldn't spawn camp, that would totally make sense. But like a lot of the maps that we currently have, it's very possible that, like you could snipe guys as soon as the game starts, and so that's kind of the problem. So if there was a way we could filter out maps for that, that'd totally work.
I would be up for that because I do remember the True Vision test. I think it was El Haluf was in there.
That
Yeah,
was
I'll admit that didn't work.
It was a disaster.
No, that didn't work. You can't do that again. But
yeah.
Some of the other Cold War maps that we've got, just throw a tier 6 in there. Throw a tier 7.
So I do have an answer for you
Yeah, go on.
about bringing True Vision to World War II. And yes, we can do that. And this was part of the bigger Event Battles initiative that we talked about on the stream earlier.
Yeah.
That is the most appropriate space where trying something out like that can very well live.
Okay.
And that is a filter we have available to us that we can say on off just on the fly, on a server controlled lever. So I will say, expect sometime in the future we will run an events battle. Mind you, it's still a 7v7. Maybe it'll be the control mode, or maybe we try team destruction on a larger map of some sort with True Vision on for World War II.
Win. That's a win for me then.
And one more time for our listeners here. Again, World War II, True Vision, event battle only.
Yeah.
Not coming into World War II random battle.
Everyone that plays World War II, calm down.
So I gotta say this though. Just thinking about that now, like control mode would totally work with True Vision as it stands, because the way the spawns are set up and the bases are set up, there's no possible way you would be able to just spawn camp like that. And then when everyone's respawning in, you're already so close that they would be visible anyway. So there's no real reason to not, like, we could probably do that totally in cold or control mode.
It's very fitting.
And it wouldn't really negatively affect the other players, because I mean, you're either too close or you're like right there, like.
Yeah. I have a counter question for you.
Go on.
True Vision off in Cold War.
No. No. Anyway.
Moving right along.
Okay, this was a question from me, actually.
Okay.
And this was inspired by the thought of the longest tank kill in, I think it was the Gulf War Challenger one. Something like 3 miles. It's ridiculous. Not possible in the game. But I thought, could we get a medal for the longest tank kill? At least more than a kill of over 1,000 meters. It doesn't happen very often, which is why it would be a
pretty fun achievement.
Yeah, an achievement to get, yeah.
Well, like last night, I totally said that is a perfect example of like a good new medal, because it's something you couldn't do before, but like that totally makes sense, because like usually most engagements, even long range, is like 500 meters to maybe 800, but like 1,000, because you could still do 1,000, but it's just hard. And if you do that, you deserve a medal for that.
If it's an ATGM, that's really hard.
Well, then you're there
that's
for like 5 minutes, like, is it there yet? No.
The red dot is bigger than the target.
3 minutes later, he's dead.
What I will say is I really like the idea and concept. Hopefully our systems designer might be tuning in and listening. Our systems designer was the one to help bring to light the Cold War medals that we've brought into the War Heroes season. This could very well be something that we think about and implement in the near future.
Okay.
So I like it.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah. I think players want more medals, so I do absolutely agree. There's opportunity there.
All right, this next one is one that you've probably heard a lot ever since the tank was released.
Uh-oh.
When will the ram damage for the Weasel and the Armadillo be addressed?
Plague, this is all you.
Oh, I know it was coming. Plus, we prepared yesterday. No. So, all right. So, Ricky knows this, but everyone at home. So, the easiest way to think about this is, so when you do ram damage, generally in World War II, your tank is basically the same weight as the other tank. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. So, when you hit it, it's kind of like hitting a brick wall. So, as soon as you hit that other tank, he's not really going anywhere, and boom, damage. When you hit a Weasel or an Armadillo, now their tank weight is drastically, and I mean drastically, lower than any tank that's going to hit it. So most modern METs, or even the medium ones, they're like 46, 47 tons. The weight of the Armadillo and the Weasel are basically the tracks of that tank. And so when those vehicles are getting hit by bigger tanks, it's kind of like a beach ball. You're basically just bouncing off the other tank, because you're not planted in the ground. You're just immediately just gone. So it's not necessarily the game, it's more the physics and just the huge difference in mass, and you're just basically flinging at them like beach balls, and they're just taking less damage and going immediately away from you instead of just planted in the ground and taking all the damage.
And I remember I said to you this, we talked about this last night, but an extension of that is with the where the physics works. I've tried to crush a weasel against a wall, and instead of crushing it, I've just flipped it up the wall on top of my tank, and I start taking damage because there's a tank on top of me, and I'm like, ugh.
What?
Yeah, because that one, so that one's more complex. So that one, in that case, that would make sense that the weasel should take the damage. But I believe, and still pretty sure, that the issue is that basically the physics of the wall or the building or whatever set dress you were ramming against, like the system doesn't understand that, so it doesn't realize it exists. So it just only thinks you two are there. So instead of just getting smushed between both of you, it just kind of like, I don't know what to do with this tank. So he just pops right up and then lands on you. So maybe there's a way we can update like walls and other things to be slightly more like so that the server recognize for like damage. Because like there's a lot of like ricochet damage and other things where like if you bounce off another tank and then that other tank dies by your shot, it understands that. Maybe there's a way that if you get rammed into something and you get squished, the system recognizes that. I don't know if it's possible, but it's something to look into.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I think there might be some improvement here. That's just a conversation we need to start with, like gameplay engineering.
Yeah.
From design standpoint, Plague, I agree with you. I think there is merit to look into this, see about trying something out there.
I will say that the ramming of the weasel, I understand that the physics is the way it is, but it's almost like, okay, I get that, but it's almost unacceptable.
You want the explosion of beating up the teeny tiny tank.
I want it to crush like a tin can. So I don't know. Increase the mass of it. I don't know. Is there a way to get the desired effect?
Honestly, I don't know. Because, I mean, it just treats everything the same, so it's all based on, like, mass, speed, velocity, and then where it's hit. So it's hard. I don't know if there's an easy or good way to do that, but, I mean, it's something to look at. Like, I wish I could say, like, oh, yeah, we could totally do that. Like, that's just... Unless it's, like, an event mode where we can play with, like, the ram damage, like, it gets real tricky amongst all the other tanks, and it's just... It's a very... complex thing, and so it's just hard to be like, we can only do it in this one instance and not everyone else. That's kind of what it is.
I'm already thinking, anytime we think of a fix for something or a new feature, new content, we try to anticipate what are the edge cases, what are the bugs that might come from this. I'm trying to think about if we talk with engineering and we implement a system that where buildings and objects can react and understand that an object in motion is hitting me, and there's physics being applied, I should be able to damage this. Like that building or obstacle should be able to deal damage against this tank that's being compressed up against the prop. I imagine that our first implementation of it, we can do something like that, and tanks that would just rub up against a wall are taking damage. And maybe
I can see that.
And then we have to ask ourselves, okay, how much allowance do we have tanks that maybe are just coming careening down an alleyway like in Himmelsdorf, coming down the steeper corridor routes, and just kind of slide up against the walls a little bit. Should they take damage? How much damage is reasonable? And does that lead to a good, fun gameplay experience to the player? Or will we kind of introduce a new mechanic that players are like, this game is so much more frustrating now, I'm getting killed by the awnings on all these buildings in Himmelsdorf.
An alternative, it doesn't change the RAM damage, but I think a balancing feature that was suggested by someone in my community was change it from a TD to a light. That, personally, I think that would be quite an easy partial fix. But
yeah, honestly, the main reason was just we wanted to make sure people played it the right way instead of just trying to like circle strafe or doing something else. Because like right now we don't really have like a roll system, so like. A lot of these tanks like that and other light tanks, like they're basically, they are light tanks and they are also TDs. It's just, we're just trying to convey somewhat of how the player should try to play this tank. So like we could always flip it to light if we get enough feedback or just decide to do that. It's just more of like, we're trying to get people to be like, okay, maybe don't run in, stay at the periphery, like shoot, try to attack, don't go YOLO and try to circle strafe or stuff like that. Like we're just trying to give some sense of how to play it. Kind of like the Molot, because like it's built to kill things. Technically, it could be an MBT because I mean that's kind of the role it is, but it's also light tank because it's way lighter than most other tanks of its size, and at the same time, it's got a huge gun, so you kind of want to be like, that's what the whole TD reason is, just try to play this at a range, don't get too close.
I get what you're saying there, but I think the very thing you've tried to avoid is the very thing that we're now doing, because I can circle someone in the Weasel, I can just tap the handbrake, which will then spin me around, get my gun, ATGM launcher on, bang, and I've done the very thing that you were trying to avoid, because it's a TD.
Well, technically, we weren't trying to do that. We were just, well, no, it's more because like we don't tell the player like exactly what this is, so it's just a general like, hey, try to play it like this. So like if you do that circle strafe or just stop and whip around, that's also how the tank plays. Like, you should be able to do that. It's just, I don't want to tell you not to do that. It's just try to play it at range. If you don't know what you're doing, play it safe, attack from a distance. Like, if you're really good enough to do the circle strafe, go for it. Like, that was because like that was never my intention to be like, oh, don't do the crazy stuff. Like, if you could do the crazy stuff and live, go for it.
Well, being able to do the crazy stuff, I think, is cool. But I would say being detected at 32 meters is what the difference between the two would be. So that's the difference between light and TD, I think. Anyway, we've talked about that enough.
If I may, though, one extra note on that. For us as designers, we will always have an intent in mind and a goal with any sort of new feature, any sort of tank, maps as well, a lot of content. We try to design things with a very strict goal in mind, but it will always come down to the players in the community that really define the meta of how something should be played. That could be very counterintuitive to what we were aiming for. And sometimes we have to pivot a little bit and think like, okay, that's interesting that the player base decided to do that instead of this. But does that mean it always leads into a poor game experience? As long as people are having fun and enjoying it, I think we still kind of met our goals and what we initially set out for in any case.
Okay. All right. We'll move on from the Weasel. I made a video on this about a week ago, and the question is simply, why does RNG change when you're the last alive on your team? And what I mean by that is, it may just be me picking on one little thing in the game that I've latched onto. Might be no basis for it, but it does feel like if you're the last alive, you can guarantee every shot will hit you, it will track you, take out your turret, take out your engine, set you on fire, and it feels like I don't have a chance to win when this invisible thing is against.
Happening.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to tell you this, Ricky, but we have a tag on your actual profile.
I knew it.
If Ricky is the last man standing, make the fire chance a little bit greater. Leo, did you have any notes on this one?
Yeah, we talked about it before, but basically it's perception. Like, honestly, nothing changes. But like I said before, I'll say it again. RNG does some weird stuff. So like sometimes it feels that way, but other times it's random, but it's even random to us. So like we didn't change anything, but it's doing its own thing and it's doing RNG.
Yeah, there is no supporting system in the game that's like, all right, up everyone's chance of fire because they are the last ones alive. Let's just get this match over with. But it is interesting. I have seen your video, and it's coming back to me now that you've brought this to attention. It is interesting, but it's also, the video is very telling because of all the matches you were the last one alive, you pointed that out. Were there a lot of other videos in which, or circumstances where you were the last one alive and it didn't happen?
Well, that's the thing. I don't recall. But again, if I've latched onto something, like most players do, it could just be me. But there are times where I know for a fact, and there's other people have had this, my 800mm pen ATGM bounces off the back of a BMP3. It's like, what? There's no armor there. So if it's just RNG being random, then
no, there's no secrets. There's nothing behind the scenes. All we can really say, yes, it's just the RNG in the system.
I mean, I will say I have seen video of an ATGM bounce off a car roof. Like, I've literally just, car roofs don't have a normal car, just parked car as a target, bounces off the roof. Why? weird, perfect angle and everything, but it just bounces. So like, it happens. I don't know why, but it's just random chance.
All right, it's just RNG being random. Okay.
I wish I can give you a better concrete answer
Yeah.
than that, but that's what it is.
All right, next up we've got, will there be any legendary skins for Cold War tanks?
Define a legendary skin.
I believe the legendary skins were the black skins.
Ah,
I think it was 100 years of the tank, wasn't it?
for the Centennial tank, our Black Friday tanks.
Yeah, I think the M48 in Era 1's got the black skin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will state that's a question we'd have to run by like our publishing and live ops teams, if that's something kind of coming down the pipe in the near future. Leo, I don't know if you've had any conversations or any insights on this matter, but I mean,
honestly, we're always adding skins.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things that we have talked about in the past, where we want to make these legendary, more rare skins where like you either accomplish something to do it or you win something to do it, but like more to just stand out and be more unique, whereas not everyone can have it. So, I mean, we have talked about it in the past. Hasn't happened yet. I don't know when, but it's something we definitely want to do. So.
Okay.
soon
Alright.
TM.
Soon, yeah. All right, finally then, I've got this. This was inspired by the S-Tank. Is it possible to have a terrain-altering mechanic? Where you deploy the
plow or the
plow
dump.
and move your own, create your own cover, hold down behind it.
Oh, that is going to be a huge gameplay engineering lift for us. It is an awesome mechanic for sure. It is things we had talked about internally. Like this would be a huge gameplay impact change to the game in a potentially positive way, right? That gives players more opportunity to figure out how they can create new tactics into the maps themselves. What I will say, this has to start with a lot of conversation with our engineering team and prioritize if this is something that we need to develop for, and sacrifice other priorities that we already have planned for, or things later down the line. Like maybe we have to rethink, hey, to build this mechanic of terrain deformation, which is essentially what it is, how we would build it in our dev tools, that could take months of dev time on the engineers, and that could mean, well, okay, we can't achieve it in this time frame, but we could do it in this time frame if we pull out this feature or maybe that feature or something, where they already have some plans to work on things. So it will really boil down to priority. If we find that this is a mechanic that would really push the game to new experiences, I suppose, and we think it's worth the time that we commit a whole set of engineers to develop for it. And to that same end, we'd also have to take a look at how this applies on all of our maps.
Yeah.
Because it could be very interesting, and another bug farm potentially to occur of like players, I don't know, creating some little bumps and terrain, digging into the terrain in areas where the terrain wasn't meant to do that, and suddenly they're able to create a weird cliff, fall off cliff to the end of the map itself, perhaps. There's a lot of edge case potential there. Yeah. Any add-ons to that?
Let me
Blake?
say, we did make a game that deformed the terrain many years ago, and it's not easy. It's fun, but like it's very complex, and so just being able to adjust the position of the ground in certain locations, like it's very difficult to net sync across other machines.
That too, yeah.
So like, because like that's kind of why it's been so long and so difficult for like other games to do like network destruction in the game, like bridges blowing up or buildings. Like that's complicated. Deforming the terrain is a lot more so. So that's why like we've tried to do little things like, you drive through grass or dirt, like it makes tracks. Or if you're driving through the snow, like it kind of moves out of the way. But those are technically things only you really see. Like you don't really see other players' tracks. But like just doing that, like Bam said, it's a lot of engineering and a lot of time. And our system really isn't set up to handle something of that complexity.
Yeah.
So it would take even longer. So, if we could do it, I would just be put it in.
That
Don't
would be
test
my
it.
answer
Like,
too.
for me, I just put that right in because digging your own trenches would be amazing. So I would I wouldn't even bother taking. Like, just go have at it.
That would be my answer too. If engineering told us, oh, that's just a week or two worth of effort, or like a month worth of effort, like even that is like a reasonable amount of time. Like, okay, that's all it takes. Let's develop. Let's start playtesting with this. Like that is an absolute. Like yes, but the conversation will literally be, oh, this is probably 8 to 12 to 18 months of effort potentially of trying to figure something out like this. I'm speaking for a department that I am not an engineer coding programmer by any means, so I will not speak for them, but the TLDR is, it's complex.
Okay.
I'm just saying I know how long complex things have taken, and
Yeah.
that's way on another level.
Way down the
so
line.
yeah.
All right, we've got a little bit of time left, and
Yeah.
I'll speak on behalf of the World War II folks. AVRE,
Ooh, okay.
how's it performing, and when's it going to be nerfed?
Plague, how is it performing?
So honestly, I mean, it's just underperforming, just ever so slightly. Not a lot, but I mean,
And what does underperforming mean?
it's not winning as much as some of the other tanks. Like, there's like a level where like the core of like we want tanks to win this much or not or win or lose. Like we just want this nice sweet spot where everyone has an equal chance. And for that one, it's kind of actually underperforming. Like, it does have a derp gun, but the things you have to realize are you can't really aim down forward. It's hard to turn. It takes forever to reload. Like, the dispersion is horrible. Like, it's not as good as everyone thinks it is. It's more the impact of dying instantly. But everyone kind of forgets that, like, basically every tier of the entire game, there's something that can kill you instantly. And it's just something that frustrates players. And then the other edge of that, because like we had the Waffle, we had the Death Star, we had the FE4005. The biggest difference between this tank and all those is because when everyone got the season reward, they were everywhere. And so that's the thing is so many people have it, so that's why it's more frustrating. But at the same time, it's not actually winning more. It's just, it's frustrating you a lot more. Whereas other
Yeah.
tanks win more. Like they're just better in general.
Yeah.
If it's, I would say though, the AVRE it was a big enough impact
Oh, it's a big impact.
to drag me out of Cold War and make my first World War II
Try
tank
it out.
review in probably 2 years. Like, that's the impact it's had, and I know that if the impact is that negative on the community, even if the win rate is whatever, is the win rate really representing the enormously negative impact on the game?
Well, I'll tell you, like other people have told me in the past, even that negativity, it brought you in. You played it. Like, that's the thing is, like,
But I haven't played it
Took
since.
interest.
no, you may
Because
not
I've-
have tried it since, but have you done other things since?
I have, yes.
'Cause, like,
But I will say this. I played it a few times. I made my video and thought this is ridiculous because I can just blat the front of a Valor and do 500 damage. That's ridiculous. And then I played my T100 and got one shot by it, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go back to Cold War. And I know there are people that would boycott Tier 10, Tier 9, Tier 8, especially if you're in a stock Tier 8. Meeting an AVRE is just like, what's the point?
Would you argue one of the bigger complaints players have against the AVRE is the derp gun, its alpha, or the inability to be able to pen it because of a lot of its spaced armor?
It does have a lot of spaced armor. It's difficult to pen from the front. I think it's more the
damage.
it's just this sort of just ridiculous impact it can have when it ought not to.
I mean, that's the other thing too, though, is there's other tanks that do that damage or higher. And not only that, per shot, but overall. Like, that's the thing is everyone's concentrated on this one tank, whereas like things like the Death Star, like the Jagged E100, they do more damage per shot by a lot. But and they also have more pen. So this is just explosive damage. Like, you have to realize these are high pen, high damage, but no one ever thinks of those because everyone's just thinking about the AVRE right now. And so it's not worse. It's actually lower than other tanks. And like I said before, like the DPM's lower, the accuracy is way lower. It's just, it's the hot topic. And it's the new guy on the field. Like, a lot more people have it. And so that's why it's popping up so much more. Because, like, there are lots of tanks that are much worse than this, but they haven't got your attention. They don't have anyone's attention. And so that's kind of the interesting thing is like sometimes certain things just pop out. Like it is. I won't lie, it is derpy. But like the same thing, like low tiers, KV2 is super derpy. But people used to complain about that all the time. And there's other tanks with big HE derp guns, but it's just when everyone got that top reward, everyone talked about it, and they told your friends, and they told their friends, and everyone else told, and then everyone was playing it, and they just went to town.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's not a beastly tank. I'm just saying there are much worse tanks, and I mean, it still gets beat up quite a lot. So sure, you'll get those couple shots off, but then you're not always winning. You do lose a lot.
We did dive into an investigation because we
Oh,
knew
yeah.
players were talking about this. Plague and I were talking about it, if there are considerations
Yeah.
and things that we should probably apply, because we heard the community talking about this quite a bit. Like, okay, let's narrow in what is the issue here, what is actually going on, what are the stats, etc. And so that's kind of where we kind of left it right there. And we determined that it is where it's at, and we don't see an absolute need to make any changes to it. Nerf changes to be more specific on that front for the time being. If I may,
Well,
Go ahead.
I'll just
Go ahead.
interject one more thing. So basically, anytime like there's a problem in the community or something like that, we always check the stats and look how the tank is comparing to everything else. Right now, it's in a position where it's not that strong. Like it's not as crazy as everyone thinks it is. It's just it pops up not more frequently because a lot of people have it. We can change it and we can adjust it, but like on the opposite side of the coin, how many people are going to get very angry that we're messing with their tank that they've earned and put a lot of work to get to? Like if it was really OP, I'd jump on that and fix it right away, but it's honestly not. Like if it was really bad or even a little bit, I'd be like, sure, but like right now it's at that spot of like, it's not really that crazy, but if we change this, so many people are going to be upset because they've worked so hard for this. Like that's the double-sided coin of like pros, cons. Like, yeah, I mean, we can drop the alpha damage on it, but will it be as fun? Will people rage against that? Like, these are all considerations we think of. So like,
becomes an opposite
yeah.
problem.
Because like real problems, we'll definitely nerf right away. Like I have no problem with that, but it's perception thing. Perception influences a lot of decisions.
So it sounds like if the community wants it to be nerfed, they have to start winning more.
I mean, kind of. No. I mean, if there was big enough, I mean, we could adjust it. I wouldn't be against that now.
Okay.
One more thing I'll say on that note, and this is another player perception part of it as well. And I'm also going to say these are running on certain assumptions. Our reticle pen chance. This is a driving factor that tells players, hey, you can deal damage here. Hey, you cannot deal damage here. That's more likely to bounce, right? Tanks with spaced armor, we don't communicate well into your reticle pen indicator that, hey, you look at a spaced armor and it'll show red. That to you communicates and says, okay, I can deal damage here.
Yeah.
You'll fire, and then you find out what happened. Yeah, I didn't deal any damage. And of course, our systems right now it doesn't communicate to understand that there's spaced armor, that yes, your shell will pen and go through that just very easily, but the actual damage that can be dealt has to go through the actual armor of the tank. And so we are also having conversations of how do we better communicate and surface the information that would help better educate players to know, oh, okay, if I shoot at that plow in the front, I am likely not to pen. There's something else that is spaced armor. I will not be able to damage the actual tank behind it. So I need to rethink things. That's going to be an approach that might be very interesting and see how it impacts players' behavior. Once they have that information in front of them on the HUD, on the screen, how will they now circumvent that and start approaching the AVRE based on that information?
It does fire Hesh though.
So I am not disagreeing with the fact of its alpha damage arguments. That's why I also asked you, what's the larger concern here? Is it the spaced armor? Is it the damage? So Plague talked a little bit on the Hesh and its alpha potential. I wanted to comment, of course, on the spaced armor.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is just the damage is crazy. So like we can adjust that. It's just it's not. There's so many things because we track all the data. Like, it's not just the damage. We track out the accuracy. We track the pen chance, how much damage per shot, overall damage per match. Like, where are you going in the match? How are you killing with this thing? We watch all of that, and it's just, we're watching it. It's just, there's so many of it. I think the biggest thing is if it was just a regular premium tank where it wasn't like the seasonal reward, it wouldn't be so hated. But it's just because so many came out that you have a higher chance of matching with certain vehicles. That's kind of what happened with the Armadillo, the Weasel, other things. Because right now, there's no limitation on the number of those per match. Same thing with light tanks. That happened previously too. There's just way too many per match, and there needs to be a way of the matchmaker to limit certain vehicles. How we used to have like a weighted matchmaker of like, you can only have 1 or 2 of these per match, not like an entire side where you're battling. Like, it's kind of like Artie. It's the same thing of like, these things can instantly kill you. There should maybe only be 1 or 2 per match, not like an entire side. So that's another thing we do have to improve upon, because players are seeing them way too much, and that is also influencing the perception. But in the second case, there shouldn't be that many per match. Like, it should be equally distributed. A couple heavies, a couple TDs, a couple lights. Like, there shouldn't be any one advantage to a certain class or vehicle. So it's kind of like the troll platoons. It's like, you don't want to see, like, I don't know, just 4 super OP tanks just beating up everyone. Like, we should be limiting that. So
Yeah. Well, Ricky, you definitely came in with the heated questions, and I appreciate it though. This was a good segment.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we have you depart here, because I know we're going to start kind of wrapping up a little bit in a moment, our last giveaway. Do we have our winners to announce? Who is getting the M3A1 Bradley? We have 2 winners. Let's pick them out. Do you want to take the first one and I'll take the second one? Looks like we have our winners.
All right, so the first winner for the M3A1 Bradley is the Big Yin Cali. Sorry. Congrats.
Congratulations. And our second winner for the M3A1 Bradley, Cap Tesla. Congratulations to you both.
I recognize that tag, actually.
Nice. And a name that was very easy. I didn't butcher it.
Yeah.
Imagine if I did.
It's all right, I do it all the time.
Well, awesome. Ricky, it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Yeah.
And again, great to see you in person.
Yeah, and you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me here.
And we'll still be hanging out throughout the whole Tankfest weekend here. Lots more to see and go on. And of course, more tanks. Of course.
Plenty of tanks.
Plenty of tanks. So fantastic. Okay. Welcome back, sir.
I'm back.
You're back. Did you enjoy lurking in the background a little bit?
Yeah, so unfortunately I wasn't able to hear any of the last Q&A session because we only have 3 headsets, so I probably need to revisit a couple of the questions to have the answers for myself.
Sure thing.
But yeah, it's been really a very, very nice segment. I saw a couple of comments regarding the aviary situation. We're probably gonna look at that afterwards and discuss this. And
there's warrant of follow-up.
Yeah,
I will agree.
Of course. And I would just talk to Bam, and we're gonna bring it up because now I know I'm jumping my thoughts a little bit. Next week Tuesday, there's not going to be a stream, and next Friday is also no stream.
Correct.
Because next week, Tuesday, I'm still, at home traveling, and the Friday after, Mr. Bam is still traveling.
Yes.
And couple of things I want to mention. I did myself a couple of notes in the meantime. So, where is it? I have the winners. Oh, the winners.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot you weren't on mic. We did announce our Bradley winners. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we stole your thunder.
No, it's okay. It's I'm used to being left out. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
TK, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So as a quick recap, what we covered today, because we had a lot. First of all, the French World War tank,
Yes.
French Cold War tank, French Cold War
Cold War
tanks.
tanks.
Yes. Just gonna bring this up real quick. So, do we have any more information on when they are coming? Do we have already something shared regarding exact release dates?
I may need to reach out with our live ops team. That one, I'll be quite honest, eludes me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
It will be part of the War Hero season.
Yeah, it will be released this season, so this is important for you to know. Then, I'm jumping again. Something that is coming next week. We have the Italians,
Italian TD line.
probably the second best thing that people are hyped about. And those are coming next Tuesday. Yes. Yes, next Tuesday, from Tier 5 onwards. And also next Tuesday, we are going to have the training grounds enabled.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
this
please
was,
check that one out. That will be
Yeah.
in the training menu.
Yeah. And yeah,
There we go.
the training grounds. And then we also have the... Do you know when the new Cold War medals are coming exactly?
The Nebelburg. So, as of
No,
today...
the
oh,
new-
you said Cold War...
Yeah.
I heard Cold War map.
Ah, okay. No.
The next set of Cold War medals, these will be launching in the next season.
Okay.
So, too soon to talk about those, but...
Okay,
we-
but next seasons.
Yeah.
Good. Just to get a little bit of time and
Of course.
dates towards
Yeah.
it. Leclerc is with the French as the highest, the top Euro 3
Yes.
tank. So just to show it again,
Here's the Leclerc.
it is a beauty. And then this season, no, it's not going to be, though it is going to be this season, the Molot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is going to be a lot of content that is coming this season, including the Italian TDs. We have the French Cold War tanks. We have the Molot tank. We have the training, the advanced training, the advanced training, and yeah, we just released the Chief Proto together with the M1A with the Bradley.
Nebelburg
Nebelburg is
for
currently
the
running.
community challenge.
Yes. And
The control game mode.
yes.
It will also be
Not
July 7th.
Yeah, not forget the control game mode, which is I'm really excited on that, and I personally think 7 versus 7 is going to be an interesting experience.
Agreed.
Yeah, and with Nebelburg, I don't know, you probably covered it, but we have 2 map sizes.
There are 2 map
Yeah.
sizes, one for World War II and one for Cold War.
Yes. So World War II has a smaller map size, but Cold War has a much larger, not much larger, but like think 1,200 to 1,200 and.
1,400 to 1,400.
And World War II is 1,200 to 1,200.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
this way around.
Yeah.
This one around. So the Calliope is coming
Toward the end of the year.
towards the end of the year with the new mechanic.
Yes.
So it's not going to be guided missiles. It's going to be barrage, basically
Dummy fire rockets.
trajectory missiles.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting how the splash damage is being calculated there, if they have, or if there are different rocket types, HE, AP.
We will find out a little bit later, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that was it. So regarding the Q&A with Ricky, one other thing that I wanted to say, because I know that Ricky had a lot of time with Plague to walk around the museum, and I know that Ricky has a lot of recorded video, so he will prepare a couple of videos, he said, on this content.
He's probably got so much content from that walk around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he discussed a lot of things and talked to Plague a lot. So he will prepare a couple of videos that we will share with the community on our social media, through our social media, and just make sure that everyone is able to see that. And yeah, I think that was mostly it for the content. Now, something that we haven't talked about. How was your trip?
Yes. So we, thank you to Wargaming again for flying us out here for Tankfest and this awesome weekend and great weather, as we covered earlier. But yes, my trip itself, I did have a layover in Philadelphia. 1 hour layover, so not too bad. We didn't even have to rush to catch our next flight, connecting flight to London. But getting to London, well, our checked luggage didn't quite make it
Oh no.
to the connecting flight.
Oh no.
Now, mind you, we had just carry-ons. We didn't want to check those, but we were kind of a last group to
you were
board the plane.
forced to.
We were forced to check the luggage. It was all the overhead carry-on spaces have been taken up. Like, apologies. Here's your tag. We're gonna have to put it in the checked luggage storage. So like, okay, great. Get to London. Well, no clothes. There was no clothes, so yesterday I went out and just bought myself a new wardrobe. These are all brand spanking new clothes.
So
for
where was the
stream.
luggage?
It was in Philadelphia.
So they left it in Philadelphia.
They left it in Philadelphia. The airline told us they will be delivering it either today directly to our hotel. If not, we should at latest see it tomorrow. So
Yeah, but because you are staying longer, because of you're taking the opportunity to
Explore a bit, yeah.
stay in the UK a little bit and take it as a vacation. But man, that is frustrating. I don't want to be in your position.
at the end of the day, it's just clothes. If they don't make it to us by any means, we'll just do a little extra shopping.
Yeah.
We'll make it through the end of the day.
Hopefully, Bam, come to Wales.
Come to Wales.
Hella is inviting you to come to Wales. How do you like that? So I want to take these last 15 minutes because we stream until past, and then we need to basically make sure that all of our gear is saved away over saved in storage overnight.
Nice.
So I want to take this opportunity and just thank everyone who joined our stream. It's like a special stream for me, like being able to
What's a special stream for all of us, especially.
Yeah.
Meeting you in person, being all together in person.
Like streaming from the event. I only did this once when I was still in Warships and we were able to stream from Gamescom. But it's something completely different. It's amazing. And I tell this story a couple of times and I make fun of it because everyone else makes fun of me for it. The first moment I came into the museum, and I've never seen that many military vehicles in my life.
Same. Yes.
Because, reasons. And I walked in, and on the second day, there was museum staff walking us around, showing us a little bit, the venue where important points are. And I was just standing there, just looking at the vehicles, and they said, like, amazing, huh? It's like, yeah, in my country, there is not much historic anymore. And then they said, like, oh, where are you from? Germany. Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But then, being here, seeing the Jagdtiger, a 4-meter monster and 7 meters long, or whatever the dimensions are, is insane. It is insane.
Yeah. I had, I knew there was going to be a lot of tanks here, but even this was above my expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the sheer dimensions of the tank museum with the outdoor tank park there where they have the vehicles
the demonstrations.
Parked. Yeah, where they have the demonstration vehicle parked for the event is just amazing. Like all the vehicles and the tank crews are so nice. Like you can walk up to them. Very inviting, where you can ask questions about the vehicle. You can take photos right away. Like I went there, I'm just gonna show it one more time. When I went there on the second day and they were still moving vehicles. And we were able to look at for example, this is a Chaffee. Also, thank you, World of Tanks PC, for the raid. The numbers haven't updated yet. I can't see it, but I know that you have insane numbers. Thank you. Thank you, good sir.
Thank you, yes.
Thank you, David from PC. You're amazing. And for us, I mean, we had the ability, and I would say like the privilege to just talk to the people working here as well, because for them the history is life. Like for them, this is literally the event of the year,
Yes.
and they put so much effort and work in, and
So much pride
in-
to it as well.
yeah, and preserving the vehicles. They are pristine, like vehicles that are, what, 70, 80, 90 years old, and they just look flawless.
Upkeep is great.
It's
yeah.
and I mean, of course, the costs of the tank museum puts a lot of work and costs into preserving these the vehicles. They have the Vehicle Conservation Center, the VCC.
Did you get a chance to go in there yet?
Yes, we were at the balcony. So the World of Tanks Blitz team is having a stream tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and they are doing this from the VCC balcony
Oh, fantastic.
with a view over all the vehicles that are parked there, and it's amazing. Like they do repairs there, they are doing the maintenance there, and it's like there's something for everyone.
There really is. yeah.
Like World War One, you have the Mark II with the training Mark II. You have the Matilda one that they got out for the show. And
Tog 2's here.
yeah, they have a Talk 2, which is in the other hall, and they had another Mark 1 that they brought out here from the hall. When we arrived on Wednesday, we wanted to start building our stream setup, and in this hall at the very end, there is this huge door, and the museum people yelled at us and said like, no people here while we are moving vehicles, it's too dangerous. And we were like, oh yeah, it's, I mean, we were literally here 100 meters away from them, and the guy came just like,
Still
no,
too close.
no.
Still too close.
And I was like, I'm just standing here menacingly. But it's really for all people that are enjoying Cold War mode. They have shows that are showing the T-72. They have Challenger 1s. I think they're even showing a Challenger 2 in the afternoon. And I know that, for example, tomorrow, I want to see this, definitely. They have a flyover
I heard about this.
at 12:59 of a Hurricane and the Spitfire.
Yes.
So, like, the sheer amount of content that is provided to the people is insane. Like, I'm just stoked. Like, it's really beautiful. All the tanks here, for example, this one is parked right next to the chassis that I photographed. This is the Cromwell, and this was yesterday before it was open to the public.
And they had these on demonstration just earlier today.
Yeah. I didn't see it, unfortunately, because we were
Prepping.
We were prepping. No, that is a Cromwell, Mr. Krabs. So, and then of course, if we go further, we have like, again, I'm just doing a recap. The Chieftain and our PC team, our colleagues from the PC team, mainly David, they had a stream yesterday that was unfortunately interrupted by some network issues.
That's right.
They had the paint dry stream.
Watching the paint dry stream.
Watching the paint dry stream of the
brand new coat.
Yes, of the brand new camouflage, because that camouflage was painted specifically for Tankfest. So overall, it is amazing. And I mean, there are so many more photos that I have on my phone that we haven't had a chance to look at yet, and I just want to get a couple of them.
I think KB's been doing a fantastic job just getting a lot of good up-close photos throughout the entire museum.
Yes.
I believe that's probably going up on socials.
Yeah. And I mean, to everyone who tuned in or got sent over from World of Tanks PC. So we are the World of Tanks Modern Armor team, mainly focused for console, for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Xbox Series SX.
Yes.
And then we have tomorrow the stream from our Blitz colleagues at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, British time. So it's 2 o'clock UTC. And on Sunday at 3 o'clock, we are going to have the big PC stream with the entire program and recorded footage and everything. So this is where the main event happens. And yeah, I think it was overall it is so far a very nice event.
And a very successful event. This is only day one.
Yeah, it is day one. It is literally day one. I'm happy though that we were able to do the stream on the Friday, because I know tomorrow we will have around 9,000, 10,000 people on this event. It's completely sold out.
Yeah.
It's completely sold out. And yeah, it's like to everyone who can't be here, who's not able to get here, just watch the stream on Sunday, because or the one tomorrow with the Blitz team, because they will be able to show different parts of the VCC. So yeah. And I'm of course happy that I was here, able to talk to you in person.
Finally meet in person.
Yeah, because
this
streams in
worked out.
persons are just a little bit different. I think the next
They
time
are,
I
yeah.
need to cross the big pond and come to
Could
Chicago.
come to Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's
Awesome.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, this is our wait a second, lead game designer Bam 1500 from Chicago, from our World of Tanks Modern Armor game. I'm Tekane, the senior community manager for World of Tanks Modern Armor, and we had also a community contributor as a guest. And yeah, who has better pizzas, Chicago or New York?
I've actually never visited New York, but Chicago pizza's better.
I don't know the answer to the other one, but I'm just think we are the better ones. I like that. Oh, yeah, and of course, Plague. Sorry, I didn't.
Our
Plague-
lead tank designer, Plague, who has joined up with
Yes.
us today too. Yes.
Yes. So it was a really fun and content-loaded stream. We have next week the Italian line. We have the Italian tank destroyer line being released. We have the new training grounds being released. We had just the Bradley released, the Chieftain Proto released.
Yep.
And more to come this season, like the Molot and the French Cold Wars are coming this season. And control game mode,
There's a lot.
It's a lot.
We squeezed in a lot this season.
Yes. We did the giveaway. And to everyone in the chat that is still here, what are you most excited of when you are looking at the Tankfest program and you had the chance to be here and basically look at these?
What is the tank they want to come see in the museum, or what demonstration?
Yeah, like if you see the talkers, yeah, the talks. This is my first time, so just seen live tanks. Okay.
Very cool.
French Cobalt line for sure. I think they have like here back behind us is an
AMX-13.
is an AMX-13.
Just off camera, but
Yeah,
it's there.
I mean maybe I could turn the camera real quick and just I think our colleague behind the desk is doing this quick
Oh,
fader.
fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, the AMX-13. Because like for example behind me, this is the Scorpion turret.
Oh, this is Scimitar?
Scimitar
Yeah.
turret. And so literally this one. This is a training turret. Then back here, in the back, you have the one with the red star. That is a Type 59 in the hall where we are. And then we have a Sherman right to the left. This one.
In focus,
So,
there we go.
In focus.
Nice.
And this one is, I think, it's Chieftain. This one here.
Yeah.
This way. So even though, even being able to stream here in this hall, whereas there are so many tanks, and I think this one is a Scorpion. I'm not 100% sure, but
I believe so.
yeah, this tank here, the small one, is a Scorpion, which we have in the game in Cold War. Centurion, yeah, sorry, Centurion, not Chieftain. Centurion, you're right. You spotted your Charlie 2 yet, Kane? No, unfortunately not, because the Challenger 2 is only being featured in the British Army display, which is happening every day at 3:55. And today we were streaming, but tomorrow I'm gonna check it out. So, yeah. Why drops are stopped? Because you're watching now the World of Tanks console, World of Tanks Modern Armor game for console, and we do not have drops enabled for Twitch. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm staying away from this Scorpion. Yeah, yeah, Dave, you have your history in skipping over a stone, I would say.
Dave, are you coming to the Tank Fest? I remember you.
Yes,
he is coming.
He will
Okay.
be there tomorrow.
Excellent.
He will be there tomorrow, and I'm not sure because there was someone asking if that is a T95. I don't think so. Where's my iced tea? I have water today, still water. Where's Jack the Ripper and Max Chaos? Max Chaos is around the corner, and Jack is here as well, I think.
Yeah, so we do have a few booths. Well, technically, World of Tanks PC, World of Tanks Blitz,
Yeah.
as well as us, World of Tanks Modern Armor. We all have our systems set up for players and guests to come in and try out the games themselves. So several of us have been taking shifts, kind of watching over, meet and greet with the players, talking about the game, helping them out on the
Yeah.
game. So I think that's where Max Chaos and Jack is at over right now.
Because also since this year, there is a fixed gaming station here with the PC team. So we have consoles at the Tank Museum together with Blitz team, which are next to us with iPads. And it looks pretty cool. I don't have a picture right on me, but we will make sure to share this on our social channels. So... which one of you sneaks up and steals their wallets while they try out the game? Nobody, because we have staff looking at everyone like a hawk.
When are you guys going in 15v15 tanks there? Oh, like literally playing World of Tanks with the Tank Museum tanks.
Yeah,
I bet that will go over real well.
that would go really well, yeah. What is your favorite tank to play?
That's a good question. World War II, I was always... Now, I have American bias, so I instantly grinded up the U.S. line, but I really did enjoy the Patton. But the Sherman really took the crown for me until we released the Fury, and that was just iconic.
Yeah, okay.
However,
okay.
my favorite tank, even well before I joined Wargaming, I've always just been a fan of the iconic M1A2 Abrams.
Okay.
I've done a lot of personal work on the side. I got my own little RC Abrams tank myself. It shoots little airsoft pellets. So I was very stoked the day that we decided to make a Cold War mode, and the M1A2 was within the first release of the new game mode itself.
Was it the one that you showed once?
On a stream?
No, in the office. Wasn't it the one that you drove around, or
Yes.
was that the one?
If you're talking about a few months ago,
That
that was the grill.
Oh, that was the grill.
That was the grill.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But I do have a different RC Abrams tank at the office.
Oh, you need to show that in the stream at some point.
I'll just bring it back up.
Either
Yeah.
pictures or record something and then.
Have
yeah.
some fun with it. Yeah. Got that one 20 years ago.
Yeah. Any news on Arty being nerfed? Well, I mean, Arty was basically changed months ago, so
Yeah, we
do
applied
not,
a huge change.
Yeah, and we do not plan on changing the Arty any further in any way. So it is in a very good spot at this stage.
Yeah, it's something that we will continue to monitor over time, just
Yeah.
kind of gauge what the community says,
Yeah.
go over the data. And if the community is interested, I have showcased on the stream before, where, how are Arty's distribution and the matchmaker, how is their win rates, damage output, etc. We showcase all that data in a previous stream. Be more than happy to revisit that if players are curious on, where is Arty 2.0 at right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think that is it for us for today, for this stream. It was an honor to sit
It's been
next
an
to you.
absolute pleasure. Yes.
It has been a really, really big pleasure for me to be on stream here with you. And to everyone else tuning in and got sent over by Tanks PC, thank you for joining. To everyone who was here from the very beginning, thank you very much that you stayed here for this 2.5 hour long stream. And as the end, I'm gonna show our trailer one last time, and then we're gonna stop streaming for today. So thank you very much, and have a nice evening or day wherever you are. Use some last words.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. This was an absolute blast. I hope you enjoyed our road to Tankfest. And as TK had mentioned before, stay tuned tomorrow and Sunday for World of Tanks Blitz and World of Tanks PC for their streams as well.
Yes. Check in. They show a lot of great content as well. And yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
What is a hero? I see them all around me. It's my brothers and sisters. For all they've done to make sure we as soldiers and countless others Even when the odds are against you, and things seem impossible, a hero rises. They fight. They resist.